That is so simple, but it's so true. Like if you actually think that everything that you considered a failure in your life, I bet you can always sum it up to I didn't even think that was going to happen, or I didn't even plan for that, or I ignored it because I didn't want to think about it. And I think like it's hard to criticize Black people for not doing better when we've been trained to literally stay in our worst and framed in this. And now I think now everybody's slaves. I think it's a different degree, but I think now, especially young kids, are aware of the control that other influences in America have had. I think they are genuinely disgusted by them. And I think young people as a whole are encouraging that togetherness, but I still feel like they don't know. I think they know how to market the way the media has taught them to market, which is using themselves and saturating the screen. Be seen, be seen, be seen, be seen. But, if somebody's just seen, but they're not saying anything that you like, they're just annoying and they're forgettable. So I think we have a lot of young kids out here who are putting a lot of like their whole life into this effort, but they haven't even really done any of the groundwork or the base work. There's no blueprint. We were never provided that. Like we've been making our own blueprints forever and just having to trust ourselves, even when somebody else is telling us wrong, which I do want to remind y'all, if y'all feel like somebody is giving you wrong advice, don't get offended. Don't think they're trying to attack you. Sometimes they're just trying to find their own value in their life.
All right. So, okay. So let's get, cause I see, we got Sheree just came in. What's up, sister? Good to see you, Suge. How are you? Did she hear me? Oh, did she hear me?
Sheree.
You got to mute.
Hey, Suge. Hey, Suge. Good to see you.
Background.
All right. And so we're going to have Kevin, we'll have Kevin Samuels say a word, and then we'll have Sheree come in with what her thoughts are on the matter. Go ahead, Kevin. Thank you for being here tonight, Kevin.
I'd be really looking for Kevin.
I just want to say thank you for having me. Shout out to the CIA brothers on the panel tonight, and one love to FBI women here, feminine, beautiful, and inspirational. Shout out to B Chicago. She had a good stream recently. Rare. Shout out to my sister there. I've been sitting back here. I can tell you from being back and working working in the industry for over 25 years, I can tell you this is like I used to work for IBM, I used to work for all these other corporations, and as image consultant, let me tell you, like a lot of these Black businesses, they think that we should just go out and just buy them because of color, right? Instead of just buying them based because they succeed the standard. What is the standard? You might make the distinction that because it comes from a Black business, that therefore it's butter. But yet it's very funny how we expect more out of our community, yet we give our own people a discount. Very funny. We don't want to buy full price from Black people, right? When you go to Sir Hale, when he creates his Patreon, you're gonna pay him full price. When you go buy from my image consultant, you're gonna pay me full price, right? Let's say you're going to B Chicago, go Cannon Ann. Let's say they're selling hair. Let's say Miss Genesis, she's selling jewelry. Hey, can you help a brother out? No, get in line. And I think that we lost that as a people. Now you're talking about the standard. We have to be win by the rules. We'll take these shortcuts, right? And I understand that people want to be on code and all stuff. But I'm telling you right now, other minorities and other situations where they base more on infrastructure than their color. What is Black infrastructure today? Anyone got the answer for me? Exactly. See, and that's the problem. And one thing I commend on these platforms is that you see here, right here, what you see Black excellence, but more importantly, I see Black professionalism. And I want have what's his name, Justin Timberlake say I want to bring sexy back. I want to bring Black professionalism back. And I think when we do that, I'm saying we'll be unstoppable. I think we have this mindset of us people. We're the most resilient people, the race in the face of the planet, right? It's start time we have to start acting like it in business. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Kevin Samuels. Thank you for being here, man.
Appreciate y'all. How y'all doing tonight?
Stu, what's going on, man?
All right. Listen, I can't stay long because Auntie ain't having me playing around with y'all till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning anymore. So I just got to get in and say what I gotta say.
Okay.
And I'll hear y'all fuss with my answers later on. Candid Ann is absolutely right. As far as going after the economy, got to go after the majority. Second, let me destroy this narrative. I am born and raised in New York City. I feel that's a very degrading statement to say that we as Black people in New York was sitting around here buying sneakers. Sorry, evidently he forgot that Harlem was developing and we was selling books, incense, fish. We had Sylvia's restaurant. We had businesses. So all of that narrative, I'm destroying right now, right here. And I am 54. Now, evidently, he forgot the book, the magazine called Black Enterprise Magazine. What was that? A bunch of African Americans who owned their own businesses and was not only doing national, local, but international business. Now, when you talk about the network of technology, again, we got to destroy that narrative. Didn't everybody see they couldn't even go to the moon without 4 Black women? That was in the NASA program. And they all lived, 2 of them lived right here in Virginia. So we done forgot that narrative. Now, so let's destroy this other narrative. We need to network, absolutely. So if I remember correctly, Uncle Stu only got Black technicians working around him. I got an engineer in Texas. I got an engineer in Georgia. I got an engineer right here in the DMV area. So when it comes to Black businesses, it's not what you sell, is what you do with that money once it come in. We have Black excellence in every single area. The problem is, are you tapping into that excellence? When I open up my book, I don't look for 911 white. I said, oh yeah, let me call the engineer by the name of Sir Hale Speaks that's going to deal with my computer problem. Oh yeah, I need a voiceover. Let me call Candid Ann that has the voiceover. Oh, you mean to tell me I need to get some musical track? Let me call Black Man Unfiltered. Ladies and gentlemen, you have
speed dial
networking when it's there. You talk about there's a difference between what we're doing in America and what he can do in Nigeria. Nigerian government is running their business. China's government is running their business. They don't have the so-called capitalist free market. Nigeria is not totalitarianly Nigerian run. It is still run by the British. It is still run by the French. It is still run by outside people. You can just pick up any newspaper and know this. Why is it that they need to know 4 different languages? It's because they need to know 4 different languages because 4 different economic systems is going into their country. Don't play with me. I have studied very, very well. So we need to stop the narrative as far as Black people being lazy. We're not lazy people. We're not. And if anybody want to come in this country and call them lazy, let me see you pick that cotton and tobacco and all that other good stuff.
Come on. Talk that talk, Uncle Stu.
We're not lazy.
Come on.
Your asses wasn't running up and down them streets in the 60s. You weren't sitting there when Malcolm X and all of these other Black brothers was in the street. You showed up in the aftermath. Don't dare tell me my people lazy. We was having businesses during slavery and we had businesses after slavery and we still keep having businesses. We do. So my attitude is real simple. If it wasn't for YouTube, who's running Black YouTube? Us. Who's helping Google and all these people? Did we not forget there's a lot of us that work for Google, us that work for Yahoo, us that work for all of these different places? Who is the major mathematicians and scientists and engineers and computer programmers? It's us. So I need us to know our knowledge, our history, and stand up and do right. Trust me, it's written. And what I will always push back on, it's us in the military keeping the Constitution of the United States of America going. It's us. We're no longer the slaves. You got us running what? Our own cities. We're running our own neighborhoods. We're running banks. We have the infrastructure. All we got to do is keep doing what we're doing. I don't see no Pookies and Ray Rays and people trying to figure out how to rob the next man. I see business suits. I see veterans. I see women who are standing up and doing the right thing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they not sitting here crying and whining and talking about anything. What are they doing? They're combining their intellectual mind in order to produce what needs to be produced for the next generation. I love y'all. But I got to get back to Auntie. Y'all can blast me, and I'll see it on the replay. I'm out.
Man, shout out to Uncles too, man. Make sure you drop his
yeah, right. We dropped it. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Always helping out your boy.
Always, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Your boy.
Appreciate you. Hey,
and so I'm tired of him running through here on like a midnight train in Georgia. He not a pimp. So, I need to attack.
So Sheree, we'll have you go, and then Tommy B will have you come right after Sheree. Go ahead, Sheree. What are your thoughts on the matter? Are you muted? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm borderline like struggle streaming over here. Like you guys are going in and out, but I'm luckily when it comes back in, I'm catching some gems. Like luckily I'm catching some gems. Thanks, Jedi. But so what I get, so I'm catching some of what everyone is saying, which is really cool. I think no one is necessarily wrong, because my take on it is, unfortunately, as Black people, we are just learning what it means to have money and power. We are just learning that. It's something that's very new to us. So thank you. I appreciate that. It's very new to us to have some money and some power. And Candid Ann gave me some information because I didn't know that people were not having the ability to go get into the hair industry like they should. So that's some information that I think that needs to be spread a little bit wider, because a lot of people arguments is why we don't have more hair spots. And Dan said, well, it's not like anybody trying. So it's interesting to me, because when it comes to us, I know the question you asked, do you support Black business and, spend your money over there? A lot of times people have the back and forth because we're so new to this, we're learning along the way. We're building this plane. So if you're a new business owner and your daddy didn't teach you how to run a business, you about to make some mistakes that are definitely going to turn away some of your potential customers. So I think a lot of times as Black individuals, when we come in as a customer, we automatically assume because they're Black, they're supposed to do certain things or give you certain stuff, but we're not understanding that they're new to it. Like, I know that it's kind of hard I just wish that we would give each other a little bit more grace when it comes to it, because this is brand new territory for us. It's brand new territory for us. So to downgrade another Black person who's running a business, who may be new to this, who may be just learning, giving some kind of constructive criticism and not saying, see, that's why I don't support Black. Well, if you don't continue to support Black, we're never going to continue to grow. We have to grow. We can't, there's absolutely no way. With experience is power. Experience is knowledge. So giving each other the opportunity to really experience each other when it comes to building our careers in the field of entrepreneurship or running a business, we may not be all the way new to this, but what's new is the power that we have, the infrastructure that we're building now, the seats that some people are in. I give it to you one way, and you can have your opinion one way or another when it comes to you can have your opinion one way or another about this man. I'm using him as an example, not to say that he is the answer, just to give an example of where we are as Americans. We just had our first Black president. That's letting you know where we certain things, certain powers, certain stuff are just coming our way. Certain things are just coming our way. Now, some people believe we don't have power. I think because we haven't learned how to use our economics like we should. We haven't learned to pay attention to certain politics like we should. And it's also unfortunate because that this country was built off it not being for us. We had to get out of a game, build a game, and then really try to embody a game because we were snatched from a whole nother different game. So we're coming from a place where a lot of things that are in our grasp, we're just learning how to use it because we haven't seen this many Black billionaires. It was just Oprah for a long time. What the hell? We got Jay-Z now. We got all these other billionaires. We are just now seeing more Black and Latinos when it comes to the Supreme Court or any other council. We have never seen that. A lot of these things, there was always just a token. Now there's more than one. What are we going to do with it? There's more entrepreneurs. What are we going to do with it? And I think the fact that some of us still think we don't have any power, I think that's more of the problem. Because money is power, and we got some money now. We got some money. So that's just my opinion. I think we need more grace.
Thank you so much for coming by, sis. I appreciate anybody want to
Chicago, man.
Yeah, I don't agree with what you said at all. I just think that when it comes to business, we're not new to this. Like, I think we gotta this is why I push back on this. Like, just in slavery, we were in what's the lady? I think her name was Madam C.J. Walker.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. When you go back and look at our history, we found a way to hustle. We found a way to be entrepreneurial, even if it wasn't nice looking, even if it was ugly. We found a way to be industrious as a people. So we're not new to this. I think the thing that it's two things that we forget. No one owes us anything in business. We don't owe us. No one owes you in business. You have to have something that people want, and it's got to be good. Here's the other thing that and this is just my perspective. We suck when it comes to customer service. So we want people to bestow upon us, I'm trying and I'm growing. But we don't give that equivalent customer service. Like I'll give an example. When I frequent, ask my wife, last year I spent thousands of dollars supporting small business. So if something cost $100, I gave them $200, right? I tip very well. I've noticed that people want the money, they want the stability of the Black income, but not the stability of the great customer service. And I think that's one of the things we have to address, because we want people to give us grace to grow, and we're not growing. Like the grace is to grow, but it's to grow. And I think we want too much understanding and not enough. We don't put enough work to be excellent and to give an equivalent service that justifies the grace we're talking about.
Right.
So let's push back on that. We're not new to this, and we got to upgrade our customer service because it sucks. It's just culturally.
I don't think our customer service sucks. I think white people and Black people and all of them are the same. I've literally
go to your nearest Popeyes and McDonald's.
I've literally been yelled at more by Indian person than I have any Black person in my life in any business.
The devil's a liar.
But when I come in, I set the tone. I say, hey, how are you doing? because I'm good at customer service.
No.
I started my life raising donations for a company called Heritage for like 10 years. So, I mean, I had to call these businesses and convince them to be nice enough and charitable enough. But I grew up in an environment where you're always selling yourself.
Why is it your responsibility? Why is it your responsibility to basically somehow train the business how to have good customer service? Like because you were saying that because you're a nice person, you kind of make them be a nice person. They should be the nice people from the get-go.
Why are we expecting people to be on a
because you're in business?
I mean, just because I want your business to be successful and I know some things that could make it be successful, like good customer service, doesn't mean that you know that. So even I could give you all the information all day if you're a business owner from a customer service aspect.
If you don't know customer service,
there's two things. Hold on a second. There's two things I want to say. Why do we have this I'm not disagreeing necessarily, but why do we have this expectation that we're supposed to get amazing customer service always from Black people, but we'll get disrespected from Walmart? We'll get disrespected from every other business. That's every. I'm not saying. Hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm not saying that we should not have great customer service.
It's not
right? I'm saying that why is that a deterrent to us
like
going back
and
buying from that company if we get disrespected over and over from other companies, but we'll still go back there and keep buying their product.
And here's the key: you don't have to. And that doesn't negate ours. See, the question is about Black. See, this is what we always do. See, notice I'm trying to keep it around Black people. Every time we start dealing with this stuff, we want to say, well, these people do it too. These people do it too. And we go buy. You said the key word, we go buy. You don't have to. So I don't want to deal with the outside community. I'm talking about just us right now. We suck at customer service. And if we're going to compete in the global landscape, we got to upgrade our customer service and quit saying, if we're 13%, we can't act like we're the 60%. We got a harder road and we got to be excellent at what we do so that we can compete. Let's keep it on Black people.
We're not consistent, especially
not perfect, excellent.
Not
perfect, excellent.
Right, exactly. Like the whole narrative that you're talking about, saying that, why you expect? We're not even customer service. We're our own people. You think this attitude just only because of only white people? No, even our own people on election ballots in the DMV give me attitude for what? For what? And that's why I hate the stigma on Black women on that, because they get destroyed for that image because the Black woman is so difficult to work with because it's stuff like this. It's like that they're put in that position, and unfortunately, we're not breaking that narrative to best our ability. We're not. That's where Sir Hale's coming from. Even the micro level, there's some things in terms of business. Even 7 seconds of you coming to a customer, you can attract their attention. But even then, you can also lose your business with that just based off your tone, your attitude, regardless of race, regardless, right? And yes, you can pull out video of just someone just being directly nice to them and them just shucking some soup on you at a Starbucks. You know the video I'm talking about. They're the same thing. This happened with white people. So that I can't accept that, Lance. I can't.
I mean, what I'm saying is, when I come in, I don't see you as a Black customer or a Black owner. You're a person who services me. If you care about your business, you will treat me with respect. You will check your tone. You will give me smiles. I want excellent customer service. If you don't, I'm going to let you know about yourself. I don't care if you're green with a club foot. It really doesn't matter to me because I deserve it and your business deserves it. And just because you don't know what your business deserves doesn't mean I'm not going to let you know what I feel like I deserve. I mean, it literally doesn't take a shade of color to treat somebody with respect and to treat your business with respect. You're setting the tone for your business. You don't care enough about you. You don't care enough about your business because you don't know enough about everything that makes a successful business. If you don't know that good customer service will always be good for you, then you're an idiot and you should not be in business. Black, white, brown, I don't care if you're a cat. If you don't know how to meow right, then get to the litter box and get the shit.
I think it's about community, though. I think Sir Hale's point.
I don't know what that meant, but that was great.
But also, we have to recognize it's important to ask, though, why are these people like this? Why? And it's not just like I've been disrespecting more about white people, white owners.
No.
Me personally. Now,
this is business.
I come from a different town. When I tell you in Arkansas, everybody's poor enough that we treat each other with a different type of respect.
That's a your environment. That's a choice.
Yeah, it is, but it is about environment, and we still
choices outgrow about your environment. That's the thing. I'm so sick and tired of us giving that excuse just because we're in a situation we're in. Therefore, we just cannot exemplify making better decisions. Just as you see a dude. No. I'm not finished.
That goes back to K-Soul's point, asking why should I set the tone?
I'm really not joking now. I'm really not finished.
You have an opportunity to control your environment by being rooted in the person that you are and exhibiting what you want.
But you choose to be in business and how you conduct yourself, regardless of whether the world does not owe you and me understanding. That you cannot understand that in terms of business, how we conduct ourselves is the fact that we are in terms of customer service as a people. That's what I'm saying with Sir Hale. Forget what other communities talking about. Forget them. What about our own house?
He said, forget it.
I could go worse, but
that's the thing.
I want you to understand how important.
Forget anybody when you're in business. You can't. You never know who's going to be the person that saves your life, saves your business, saves your finances. You don't know who that person is you're talking to. So that's why you treat everybody.
So you're not wrong on what you're saying.
Sir Hale wants to respond to you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Lance, you're not wrong on what you're saying. But if we see, we can't fix a problem and include everything. We got to hone in on something, and just for this segment, we're honing in on customer service. I'm telling you, I've done tests just to see if I'm crazy. I've gone into different, and I won't say the establishments, but I will go in with a certain suit on to see if I would get treated a certain way. Go in with a hoodie, so if I get treated a certain way by my own people. And I'm telling you, our customer service sucks. If you look like you got money, so if we're talking about treat everybody kind, if you look like you got money and you're gonna spend it, then they'll respect you. If you come in as a regular guy, and I've done this, I put on a suit and I spent $10. Hoodie, I dropped a couple hundred just to see how they will respond. And just collectively, when I go to some place else where they understand that I don't give a care how they look, I want them dollars. So if he's got on a hoodie and some jeans, and he looks like he's going to spend money, let me give the customer service up front to make sure I got it. What we do is we size each other up, because what we do as our culture, as our Black people, we look and say, oh, he's got a suit, and we judge a person's status by what they got on, and we have no clue that some of the most richest people got on an old pair of Levi's, a polo shirt, and some run-over shoes, because we judge people on the external. So when we talk about customer service, as a collective, we got to get better in not sizing people up based off of how they look, but having a conversation, because a conversation can let you know whether or not a person got it or they don't.
I'm sorry. While I agree with you, everybody does that. When I go to work, when I was working in the financial field,
we're talking about the Black community that is 13%, and we're trying to compete.
We're part of America. We're not exclusive. We're still the same human being with the same. We do similar things as human beings. We're not like in the way that we act.
Why is that?
That's like saying I'm a mom and pop shop, and because Walmart can get away with stuff, I should be able to do it too. We are not Walmart yet. Like, I don't understand why we're not getting this.
I go to a business. When I was working in the investment banking field, I used to work for Lehman Brothers. I worked for Goldman Sachs. I worked for all these Fortune 500 companies. There's an expectation that I'm going to come there looking a certain way. Otherwise, I get treated a certain way. I can tell you that I would go to work and I would dress a certain way. Even having my hair natural compared to my hair straight, I would get treated differently.
You're going to a
human thing that we do.
There's a difference.
Say again. Why are you over talking me, Kevin? Stop over talking.
That's that bullshit. That's what you're not gonna do, ma'am. No. No, seriously, there's a difference when you go into a Michelin star restaurant, which they will refuse to serve you if you don't come with proper decorum and attire. However, the DMV is totally different. Election ballots are totally different. McDonald's, Popeyes are totally different. Different.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Where's the disconnect at? Because you know what's going to happen? One of y'all going to go to a restaurant and go to Wendy's or go someplace and get treated this way, and my voice going to be in your head talking about customer service.
Yeah,
I'm looking for the next show, Black Man.
Exactly where the disconnect is.
So Tommy B,
the disconnect is the difference between thinking about I need to get this business and keep it in the black for a month, and I'm about to start investing in the Black enterprise, in my company. If you knew that every single person
you would never get there, you have global customer service. That's a macro
as
position.
A business owner, if you took seriously as a business owner and as a consumer that every interaction you have in life, like we used to be raised.
I agree with that.
Our mama used to raise us. That was our community. Respect. We had respect. We had a loyalty. We had a commitment to each other because we were all we had. Now we are in a free enterprise market where we finally have access, not full access, but access to the knowledge.
Right. So let's Tommy
But
B's
do
been
we
waiting.
take advantage of the access to the knowledge?
Absolutely. So
we don't even know what the knowledge is yet, and that's why we have these kind of platforms.
So let's get Tommy B's comments, and then we'll get Nathan Daly in here because I know he's been over there shaking his head, and so I got to get him in, and then we're gonna have Genesis come in as well. So we'll be Tommy B, Nathan, and then Genesis. Go ahead.
Let me mute.
So, y'all making sure.
I mean, just going off of this last conversation, I find it hilarious how we expect more from a small business than we expect from a conglomerate like Walmart. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, if anything, we would expect somebody with that much money to be the most professional than somebody that's starting up. Overall, everybody should give you good customer service. Absolutely. But what's funny is if you'll go into a store, usually the bad customer service comes from the employee, not from the owner. And so I think kind of what Ken and Ann's point is, we'll go through 50 experiences with these white companies, these huge companies or whatever, and we'll continue to go back. And then 1 or 2 experiences with a black, and it's, that's why I don't deal with black people, da-da-da. And I think that's where she's coming from. You can shake your head, but that's exactly what the fuck happens. It doesn't take you that much. It doesn't take you that much of a bad experience for you to stop fucking with a black. Like, we've all seen it. Literally, if they look at you the wrong way, that's why I don't fuck with black. Like, that's literally what happens. Again, should everybody give you, good customer service? Absolutely. It's common sense. But look at Gucci, directly disrespected us, and it was still a line of niggas out there. Still a line of niggas out there. Boosie had to go through there and tell all them niggas they was dumb as fuck. Why? Because they pretty much they got what you want or whatever. But I personally think, as far as the topic, I think it's kind of a facade, because I think we do support our businesses a lot more than what people give credit towards. I think because we're so vocal about bad experiences with black businesses, I think it seems like we don't support black businesses, and that's kind of why we kind of have this what do you call it? Like this stigma that black people don't support black businesses. I think we actually do. I personally, it's a dude named Devlin Carter, and he went on the Breakfast Club, and he's an independent shoe designer, shoemaker, whatever. And I heard his story on there, and literally have not bought a pair of Jordans ever since. Bought nothing but his shoes. So I think it's a lot of, and I think majority of his, and he's making a pretty good dime right now. Pretty much every time he releases shoes, it's sold out for the most part every time. His line is called SciaCollective.com if anybody want to go check it out, whatever. Sci_collective on Instagram or whatever. But some of his shoes
drop
right
the link
here.
in the back. Drop the link.
Yeah, it's like he got solid stuff made in the same factories as Nike and stuff. And you know what I'm saying? Everything from shoes, the pants, the shirts, the underwear, the socks. Literally, you could be head to toe black on. So, I just think I think black people do support black businesses. I think we're quicker to stop messing with them because of these stigmas that we kind of place on black businesses. Again, I think a lot of the times, and I'm not going to sit here and try to sugarcoat and act like, you don't have bad experiences at black places of business. I'm not going to act like that. But what I'm saying is, if I go into a business and I have a bad experience with an employee and not the owner, I'm not going to put that on the whole establishment. That's what we do as a people, is if we have a bad experience with an employee, we'll put it on the entire establishment. And then if we go into white businesses, we absolutely don't do that. we'll still go back to that McDonald's, we'll still go back to that Wendy's, we'll still go back to that Walmart. We don't go, I'm never shopping here again, yada, 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 because I had a bad experience with this employee. And I think that's where Cannon Ann was coming in with how we treat Black businesses.
So Tommy, I think the only pushback that I have, so I agree with you about the stigmatization, like that we shouldn't stigmatize a whole group of people. But the only flaw in your argument is you're talking about a company like Walmart versus a small mom and pop, right? So in that example, right, if you have a small mom and pop Black owned business that has that let's just say they're rude, and you have Walmart and they're rude, right? I'm going to go to Walmart because Walmart does what Walmart does, and they're going to undercut them. The prices are going to be cheaper. I'm going to be more willing to deal with them. And I don't think you can compare that, because if you're talking about a smaller business, you do expect more from them than you do the bigger company, because they're competing with a bigger company. They have to outperform them in order to actually compete, or else they're going to lose business.
And they have more to lose. They have more to lose.
Stop acting like you standing on some kind of moral shit and just say, okay, I'm gonna go with them because they cheaper.
No, I definitely want to say this real quick.
But I never made the argument that you're talking about.
So we're gonna let
No, what I'm saying, K-Soul, that's what people stand on is, oh no, they treated me like this. I don't like it. I'm not messing with them no more. When exactly what you just said was, when they was able to give them that price at a certain price, they absolutely would go back.
Right.
Okay, I agree with you. I don't think you should walk away and say, just because their skin is Black and they were rude, I'm not supporting, Black people or anything like that.
But who's doing?
Right. Hey, sorry, hold on, sorry. Sorry, gonna cook in a minute. So Nathan Daly, man, welcome back to the platform, man. Good to have you back. We're gonna let you cook, and then Genesis, and then we'll let E-Man cook a little bit. But I know Sir Hell is balling right now, so I got. But go ahead, Nathan.
Hey, no, I appreciate you having me again, and shout out to everybody on the panel. There was a lot said. I kind of got on a little late, but kind of want to double back because a lot was said. And then I also want to speak to some experience, because I think that's really important. I know it's one thing we have experiences dealing with businesses, and then there are some of us who have experience dealing with businesses behind the scenes and seeing what's actually going on with our entrepreneurs that are African American, and what are they doing. I think the question is, what is the mindset? What is the mindset, right? Because honestly, that's where the issue is. It's not so much because we're very capable. And I know the beautiful lady here, she stated that, hey, we were just now learning these things. We're just getting to this point, but you guys, we are highly educated people. We're highly talented. We're highly skilled. We have the money. We have the resources. We don't have the right intentions. And again, one of the biggest problems with our community is that we're not willing to die on a sword for the generation coming up after us, right? And you got to remember, our counterparts do this all the time. They're willing to put it all on the line for the next generation. They're willing to be the martyr for the next generation. We don't have that in us. We're not willing to die for our people. And if you don't have that pride being African American, then we're going to fail, you guys. I've said this on a previous channel, that this whole thing is not about race. It's not about racism. It's not about white supremacy. Those things are an illusion, And if you understand what's going on, then you understand that these things are all social constructs, right? To divide us. This whole thing is about money and power. It's about economics. Someone has to be at the bottom, right? And it's Black people. And power can't be created or destroyed. It has to be either given or taken, you guys. And we are playing a game that we don't understand. But we understand how it's supposed to be played. We don't want to play it properly. This is a race between races. All the other races in this country are playing appropriately, except for us. We're not playing on the same team, And so this is a race between races, and Black people are the only ones riding benches, complaining, not willing to put in the work. You look at Martin Luther King, he said, look, 365 days it took to do a boycott. Do you care more about my skin color than you care about this money that I'm about to hand you? And that's what it's always been about, you guys. So the biggest problem, listen, I spoke to prominent celebrities. And you guys don't know this about me. I know I'm new to YouTube, but I'm also into business. And I had a chance to sit down and talk to one of these celebrity stars, reality stars, or whatever you want to call them. You guys, I'm here in Atlanta, so I run into them often. And I asked her, she's doing some hair stuff, she's doing some hair stuff. And I said, hey, listen, you have a platform. You got 1 million followers on Instagram. Everybody watches you. You have all these young women who aspire to be like you for whatever reason. But here you have an opportunity to do something very epic within the Black community, like create a hairline chain, right? Like a beauty supply chain. And I said, you want to do hair, you want to do makeup and all that kind of stuff. Cool. I said, everyone's here to support you. I said, what if you were to start your own beauty supply store chain? You educate young Black women and Black men who are interested in the business. And then what you do is you have them duplicate the process you're doing, right? Franchise it throughout our communities, and then actually starve out the businesses that have no business in our communities in the first place, right? Why don't you do something like that? Because you have the access, you could do it, you have the network. And she said, I'm not interested in that. It's easier for me to make money online, and this again is the problem. And the lady right here, she also stated about, our Black billionaires and things like that. Like, for example, Jay-Z, you brought up. What's interesting about Jay-Z, he created Tidal, and he built it. We supported him. And then he sold it to Twitter, right? He sold it to a white man. So the problem isn't the problem, and again, if we talk about the gentleman who did Black entertainment television, he built it.
He purchased Tidal.
He did what?
He purchased Tidal. He didn't create it. I just want to correct that.
Okay, well, shoot. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then, he championed that, right? And then he sold it, right? So, and I didn't know that before, but thank you for that correction. And then so Black entertainment television is another example. That was a very key. And look at Oprah. Oprah, same thing. She sold like almost all the shares to the OWN network.
Yeah, she only owns 10% now.
So here we are. The biggest problem in the Black community is we can't get accurate information to educate our people, right? This is the problem. So every time we get our foot in the door, we get strong, we sell out for money, and so this is the problem. We are having an issue being, we don't want to sacrifice. We're so into and so invested into money that we're not willing to do what's the greater good for the entire community. As individuals, we're doing good, right? As individuals, we're doing great. But then as a whole, we can't get the things that we need to actually progress as a community because we're not supporting one another. And the gentleman, Sir Harold Speaks, is absolutely correct. You guys, I've invested, I've done a lot within the Black community for 13 years, and I see it all the time. The quality, we put dollars over quality. And I always say this at the end of the day, we know we're not talking about all businesses, all Black businesses. The gentleman earlier was expressing, he's like, hey, when I'm dealing with people, I'm doing this and doing that. Yeah, but the problem is not the exception. We're talking about the rule, right? What's the consistent thing that we see? I've been to a lot of Black businesses, and again, it's the issue is always professionalism. It's always professionalism. We have situations where people, I've met business owners who started beauty supply chains and they get choked out by Asian supply chains, right? They say, hey, look, we're going to only support our own. We're going to choke them out. Now, listen, here's the problem. These people don't even use any of these products. They can't use these products on their own hair, on their own skin. They choked us out of our own industry and we allowed it, right? We allowed it. How does that happen? How disrespectful is that? How disrespectful. Shame on us as a community. Shame on the women, because I can't use half them hair products. So ladies, it's on you guys. The question is, how do we circumvent around people who are actually cutting us out of our own stuff, hair, makeup, nails? We own nothing. We spend the most money. We have the money to spend. We're too lazy to create businesses to support one another. It's laziness. It's not that we don't know, because I taught myself how to trade stocks online on YouTube, right? 3 years ago. So you can't tell me we have the most information in front of us. There's no excuse. Absolutely no. We are in this position because we want to be. It's comfortable. Listen, I tell people all the time, we are addicted to the idea of white supremacy. Okay? This is the problem.
Nathan preaching that. He preaching right now, y'all.
Nobody is supreme over us.
Like,
How did they even sell you that? How did they sell you that? You know, so we have to wake up and say, what is the real issue? I remember Mother's Day a couple years ago. I took my mom and my sister out. We went to the cleaners. We went to the dry cleaners. Asian man was working. We went to the gas station. It was an Arab man working. We went to the nail supply. I think hooked them up, get the nails done. Right? It was Asian people in there. So went to the beauty spot. We spent the whole day spending money, and not one of those dollars went in the hands of a black person. Make it make sense.
Can we pass the offer? Nathan just came in here and spoke the language of my heart.
Yes.
I was going to push back a little bit on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
I was going to push back a little bit. So when you're talking about big business, like you're talking about with the Jay-Z's and the Bob Johnsons, that's what they do. No matter what race, you buy businesses to build them up to eventually sell them. So, and I say that because I kind of felt the same way you did when Jay-Z sold Tidal. And I think part of the reason why I felt that way was because he marketed it as this is ours, yada, yada, yada.
Correct.
But
Correct.
That's technically what businesses do is they build them up, because what you don't want to do is hold that thing when it drops back down. So you build it up till you pretty much feel like it's almost maxed out, and then you sell it. Same thing like with dude from MySpace, Tom from MySpace. Built it all the way up, sold it, and now that thing only worth, I think, 10% of what it was when he sold it. So that's the only part that I think I would push back on you with that is when you get to that kind of bit. I mean, I think we're more talking about kind of like smaller businesses, but when you get up there to them, you know, hundreds of millions, and that's literally what they do is they purchase these companies, build them up, and then sell them. That's literally the business model.
And I got a lot of pushback on that, but I'm gonna let Genesis.
I'm gonna let you I want to hear what you have to say, brother. I want to say something real quick about that, though, and I can't see anybody's name, so I apologize.
My bad. Go ahead. Here you go.
All right. So Tommy, what you were saying, you're absolutely right. Like, that's the nature of business. Like, I understand that. I don't get offended by it. What Jay-Z did, though, he tried to marketed to the black community, right? That was very divisive. Right, that was disingenuous, you know. And listen, I understand business. I don't take offense to it. The problem I have, the only problem I have is that we can't afford to give up any leverage. We don't really have any, right? So it'd be different if we had a lot of people in the space. Look what happened to your boy.
We do have leverage, though. Stop saying we don't have leverage. We have unbelievable leverage. I'm gonna wait. Yes, we do.
We have leverage. We have leverage. We don't use it, though. You're absolutely right. We have, honestly, brother, we have all the leverage. God forbid, listen, God forbid if black people decide they want to leave this country and go, they wouldn't let us leave. This country would fall apart. Look at sports and entertainment. We dominate. Listen, this country would fall apart if we leave. We have all the leverage in the world. We are misusing it, right? When a man can come on here and say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. This is the problem. Wow. It's not that we don't have leverage. We have all the leverage. A day without an African American, this country would fall apart. They have to get us to believe that we are not superior. They have to. They got to sell it, and they sell it through racism. They sell it through racism because it keeps us distracted from the real problem. If they ever, the reason why they'll never give us reparations is because they need us fighting an imaginary ghost. Right? They need to, because if they ever gave us reparations, black people would be like, hold up, our situation's still the same. And then now we have to lean on the reality that all these problems that we have are self-inflicted. At this stage in the game, it's self-inflicted. Now, when it comes to business, that's how business is supposed to work. But what are black people looking at Jay-Z? They're saying, hey, we thought you were here for us.
But hold on, Nathan. Let me get you push back on that, because what he sold it more than race was for the artist. And he actually made a bunch of black artists money because he had them invest in Tidal. And then I think he actually even had the splits to where they made more. I think it was like the second most of all the streaming services they made off of their streams from Tidal. But it was more marketed towards the artists and black artists than to black people altogether. I think black people supported it because they heard Jay-Z bought it, but it was more marketed towards artists. And then a lot of artists ended up investing in it, and they actually all cashed out.
And I can see that. And I can see that. And I don't have any issue. Emmanuel, what were you going to say? Because I don't have any issues with. Here's the thing, these celebrities are not our leaders, and I think Black people have to really understand that, right? They're in it for themselves. They're not our leaders, But when you call on the Black people for support, and we support you, and then when they're looking for something else in return, people say, "Okay, we had a Black president, and he's not the president for Black people." So again, we have to be very clear on what it is our obligation is to ourselves and to our community. Or are we going to keep playing this individual sport versus playing on a team? So, Emmanuel, what were you going to say, brother?
Well, let's let Genesis. I'm gonna let Genesis go first because she's been waiting. Genesis, what are your thoughts, honey? Because I know you over there balling too. I know you ready.
I'm gonna piggyback on some of the things that Nathan said when he was talking about. I tried to take notes. I got so many things I want to say, but when he said about not taking advantage of the knowledge. Now, I wanted to separate my everyday business life from this, but this is a business venture too, so I'm going to mention it. I live in Illinois. In Illinois, there is the I see Sheree be Chicago. In Illinois, there is the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Development. It's places like that, or websites. They have a website that is filled with information. They host monthly meetings online during the pandemic where they're handing out knowledge that's free. We aren't taking advantage of it. I'm a member of my local chamber of commerce. I'm not going to name that one because then that would be too much. Local chamber of commerce. I'm not one of those people who doesn't share information because there's enough of a pie big enough for all of us to get a piece. So I share it all the time. I can't tell you the number of people that I've seen that are calling themselves entrepreneurs that I've invited to a meeting that is free where they can network or even just sit in the room to be a fly on the wall to absorb the knowledge that's being served up monthly. Can't get them to come out. What they gonna make me buy? It's not going to cost you anything. You don't have to sell anything. This is just an opportunity for you to come in, say your name, introduce your business, tell them what product or service it is that you have available, and they won't show up. But then you say you're trying to build this empire. Well, how are you going to build this empire talking to all of your social media friends who are the people who aren't really supporting you anyway? That's one thing. And when we were talking about the poor,
look at the congregation, Genesis. Look at the congregation. They
It's true. We go to our Facebook pages and we think that we're going to be a millionaire because of the Facebook page. And then something else Nathan said about we don't want to invest for the long haul. We want to build a business today. We want to be a millionaire by next month. And that's not how it happens. It takes time. We'll invest more in a bad relationship than we will in our business.
Oh my God.
We have a problem. We have a problem.
Genesis here.
Genesis took us back to the beginning. So I'm gonna go ahead and add on to Genesis. So I love that name. We have a problem where in this community where we want to plant the seed and then eat the fruit at the same time, and it doesn't work. And when you look back at people who have done this, it's generational wealth. That whole phrase for me, it has meaning to it. It has meaning. We have to. The issue we have a problem. We have a problem with delayed gratification in this community. As soon as we make money, we have to spend it in order to show people that we've arrived. We cannot delay gratification long enough to build wealth. This is the problem, right? This is the problem. We got to be in a Benz. We got to be in a Land Rover, right? We got to be in all these Hummers. We need these things. We're so busy trying to impress one another that we're not thinking about the generation behind. We're not thinking about our children. We're not even thinking about the children, the people that we see across the street. We're not creating plans for the betterment of our community. We're doing it for ourselves, and then we're not doing it properly. So I want to hear what Emmanuel has to say.
I had one other thing that I wanted to mention.
Emmanuel,
in those same circles that I mentioned.
Yes.
All of Pookie and Ray right now, they jumped on the PPP. In those circles, they were talking about the PPP before the PPP was public knowledge.
Right.
There's also grants, free money that was available that never made it to the public.
Right.
If they were in those circles, just sitting, even if they were just being the fly on the wall, they would have had access to that information. Let's not forget, they got the PPP. Why not take the money and actually start a business? Because there's some of us who had to bootstrap our own businesses. You had an opportunity that we didn't have. However, they're going out buying designer that they can't spell.
And the problem with that is, you know, even with the business that I started, I didn't even qualify to even get, you know, I got the grant, but I couldn't get any PPP for it. You have people who were creating fictitious businesses and were getting thousands of dollars in our community. You know, we see some of the celebrities and reality stars here in Atlanta being arrested, you know, buying watches and all kind of stuff. And so this, again, you know, during the pandemic here in Atlanta, we were one of the main cities that were open here in Georgia, which is what caused our crime to go up. But when that first check dropped, the stimulus check, it was our people at the mall trying to buy Jordan tennis shoes. You know, and this is the problem, right?
Rather than taking that stimulus check and investing in some stocks,
of course,
when they were at the low.
Oh yeah, invest in the GameStop stock that later 3 months later it went up like I did.
There we go, Emmanuel.
Man, look, the pandemic was my best financial year.
Yes,
and I'm just lying here.
Mine too. Online crickets. If we post nonsense, you got 5,000 likes on it, 75,000 comments. You post something that makes sense, nobody bites.
2 likes.
And guess 2 likes. And guess what, guys? I want you before Emmanuel goes, I want you guys to address this comment real quick.
That's funny. She said no. That's funny. She said that because
I got a lot of Asian friends, and that's just not true.
Yeah, that's not my experience at all.
I have not heard one person ever say, "I ain't never going to no Asian store. I ain't never going to no white store." We the
I don't think we look at it. I don't think we look at it. I don't think we look at it like that though. You know what? These black people, I'm not going to this black store. It's that's not what it is. I've never said that.
What I'm saying is, we as a people will say that's why I don't shop black. That's why I don't da-da-da. They do not do that. That's a fact. Period. They don't do that.
Let me ask you a question. See, I think where we get it mixed up is we're comparing. I think here's where we get mixed up. It's not that it's not all black people. It's not all black people. It's just enough of us. And I want to focus on the enough of people that makes us say this for this to even be a saying. Like, let's focus on that. And I will say it is changing. Like, I will say it's not as bad as it used to be because we are making these things more aware. But let's just be honest about this. It's enough bad representation for this stigma to stick. If there was no reality to this stigma couldn't stick. Let's just be real about that.
Honestly, I think the stigma has been around so long. I put it like this. If you talk to most people realistically, real world experience, and if you say, have you had more bad experiences than good in a black establishment, real world experience, not the stigma, I don't think most people will say yes. But the stigma makes it seem like that's what it is. And that's where I'm pushing back on. Like, the stigma makes you think 8 times out of 10, if you go into a black business, you're going to face an attitude or you're going to face da-da-da.
I don't think we normally go on with that. I think, honestly, it's the opposite. I think we go on thinking it's going to be better because they're black, if we want to be fair about this.
Yes.
I think we assume that because we're the same, we know that we're going to give each other the best. And when we don't get that, I think it's the opposite.
Yeah. I do not go in expecting my folks to be like, no, it's like, okay, I feel comfortable. I can talk to you. It's not like that. It's like, and
even black people will say it in our hair. Let me give them a chance.
Exactly.
You can't expect both things if you're going in. If you're going into that business expecting I can talk to you, then expect them to be unprofessional. Expect them to be treated like a homie. Expect that, you know, if that's what you're feeling, if you're expecting some kind of professionalism
that you're separated from there. Exactly my point. Jedi just said it's not like that. As if 8 out of 10 times you go in there, you're not going to have a friendly experience. You just said it's not like that. Again, if you took your personal experience, what you went through, you're going to tell me it's not like that more times than it's not? That's your experience. I can't speak on that. But what I'm saying is, are you really going to tell me if you went into 10 establishments and you expected to be treated that way, 8 times out of 10 or 7 times out of 10, you're going to come out there with a sour taste in your mouth. What I'm saying is that
I think your position in this. I think the position of what you're saying is wrong. We don't generally go. How many of let's take a poll. How many of us have gone into a black business and say, you know what? I see what they're trying to do. Let me help them out. Let me go support this business. Most of us going with the perspective of I'm going in to support. We're saying it's the opposite. We don't go on like I know LaQuisha gonna be mad. We're gonna say, you know what? I know LaQuisha got a stigma. Let me finish real quick. Let me finish real quick. I know LaQuisha got a stigma, so let me go in and support LaQuisha because I already know she got the stigma. So we going with a different mindset. And that's not even just black business, that's with any business, right?
You can't say that when you say, I'm going there thinking that I'm going to have this type of service, and that's not what happens.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, yeah. I don't know what you mean.
Hold on. Let Emmanuel get in because
go ahead, Emmanuel.
Because I want to get his feedback on the earlier statement.
All right. So first thing I want to say, a lot of y'all guys said a lot of good things, but y'all also said a lot of horrible things. And the reason that I say that is because I really don't tell too much what I do outside of this, but my job is develop businesses to help them go through the stages. And the problem that I heard is what y'all do is, so business have stages. You have an infant stage, you have an adolescent stage, and you have what we call a adult stage. And what we cannot do is compare a business that's in an infant stage to a business to an adult stage, because the adult can do different things that infants can do. See, the problem is people trying to move like Walmart, but they're not making the type of money as Walmart. See, Walmart can lose 10% of their income and still be completely wealthy. So the problem that I dislike, so when I start with a business, the first book I help them read is something that says, Don't Eat Your Marshmallow Yet. It's a book that talks about delayed gratification.
I know what you're talking about. My dad gave that to me. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So that's the first thing is you got to show them, hey, are you willing to be in this thing 3 to 5 years because it takes 3 to 5 years? I really think it's kind of offensive to me being a business owner for you to say, because when I walk in a room, I'm part of the Chambers of Commerce too, but when I walk into the room, you need to do business with me because I am the best. I'm the best there to offer. But when you start saying, hey, we should just give these people handouts because they black people, we should support their business just because of the color of their skin, I feel like that's offensive to somebody like me who's been in the trenches for the last 5 years putting in the work. That's because I'm the one out there putting in the work. And so I tell people this right here is no, business is a blood sport. And I want to tell you straight up, it's like, when we say business is a blood sport, no, you need to get in. You need to get in and make that thing happen. Yes, that's it. You need to get in and you need to make it happen, or you need to go back to your 9 to 5 because business is not for everybody. And I refuse. And this is kind of when I kind of start separating myself from some black business. I refuse to have mediocre, horrible service just because they're black. I don't take mediocre service from white people, Asian people, Chinese, polka dot, orange. And so why am I going to take that from my own people?
Come on, man. I'm black, man. You understand, man. You don't understand what I'm going through, bro.
Yeah. No, I don't understand. You need to stop making excuses and get out the victim.
Your mother's black. Your mother's black. What are you talking about?
Brothers, man.
And so that's the biggest thing is that no, we need to get out this thing.
Nathan killing himself laughing, bro.
But for real though, we need to get out.
I mean, this is what we said, all right?
No, really, this is what, yeah.
And then the crazy part about it is we want to compare it back when black people could not shop in white businesses. They said, well, back in the day, we shopped only black. Well, Jim Crow is the reason we shopped in the black communities back in Jim Crow. Now we have an option. If I have an option, me and my wife, we go to really nice restaurants. And if I have an option to sit down, I don't want y'all twerking while me and my wife trying to have a good fun. No, I control my environment, because what happened is this right here. As a business owner, it only takes one picture to be snapped of Emmanuel Williams in this restaurant with these women twerking. He was with that, and I can lose my professional clients. So my environment is, I said my environment is so important. So if you don't create the type of environment for me and my family that I feel safe in an elegant type way, I am not going to do it. So no, and that's the only reason you buy a business. The only reason you buy a business is to sell it. That's the only reason. We never do it. We never going to be at a point where we say we got to hold on to it for the culture, for the people. No, We do what's best for our families. And if families start winning, the Black community start winning. And that's something that we need to see. No, Emmanuel, you need to, hey, how do you do those things? So I'm everybody know I'm not a subscribing to, I got to do something maybe that hindered me financially for the Black community. That's crazy. We do the best business decision. That's why we have business advisors to give us best business decisions. Jay-Z he said, hey, this is the height. This might be the best of what is going on. This is going to be the primary time for you to sell this. He had people who went to school to analyze business to tell him to get rid of that business at that time. So how is us going to get on here and say, hey, he made a bad decision for the culture? That's BS. And that's my opinion.
Now, hold on. Before anybody say anything, guys, I know if you're watching right now, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button, please. We need your support and to continue to have these conversations like we're having right now within our community. And so please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Also, I want to bring into, I am Courtney. She's in the comments and she's been commenting all night. And she had a question. She said that we're talking about, the businesses on the other side, but what about this comment right here that she just posted? She said, we need to address this. Has anyone talked about when we go in Black business, we expect the hookup?
I did.
Expect the lower rates and prices.
Earlier.
And somebody in the comments said we did it, but we didn't stay on it as long as we're staying on this part of it. And so, if we could elaborate a little bit more on it, because Courtney just got here, so can we elaborate a little bit more on her comment about what do we do with the people that come in and say, "Oh, bro, you got a Black business? Oh, so because this is what you'll hear. Oh, since you got a little money, you acting funny, so you can't
You owe us.
Old boy that I just told you about, he done had celebrities try to get free shoes off of him. He won't give it to him.
You can ask them to discount for the Jordans. Don't ask me for a discount.
But something, the issue is not one of the discount. Like, we need to get that. One of the is feeling entitled to it. It's feeling entitled to it because I'm Black. That's the issue.
Absolutely right.
I'll tell you the truth. Ask my wife. I don't pay full price for nothing. I will find a way. But when I do this from a Black person, I'm not saying because you Black. You know what? Come on, brother. You my brother. I don't go in doing that. No, I'm gonna try to negotiate like a businessman to get a better deal. I think too many Black people think that just because you Black, I should give you a discount. Some of them think you should do a dang near for free just because we're the same color.
Free.
And here's what I'm saying for our community. I want us to be in position to where we're so well paid that not only are we paying full price, but we tipping as well. That's what we got to get to if we're going to change this. And that's where I'm at with this.
We're horrible.
Well, I just want to say you got to make shippers. Well, the secret to that is not making the customer should never interface with the person who can make that type of decision. Like so, so people don't understand. Like when I do my business, I purposely hire people. People say, "Well, that costs you more money." She can't make a decision to change my prices because I am the business owner. That's why I tell people anytime you can negotiate with the owner, the customer can win. So that's why you put every business, I don't care what you go in, they have what we call them gatekeepers. They have a gatekeeper. Matter of fact, when you talk from a business point of view, it should be a luxury for you to sit in front of an owner. Right. And so the reason that they out there, so the reason that they're doing these things is because we haven't learned the art of being able to put gatekeepers, because we got to understand that something happened to that owner. Guess what? That whole business fall. So we got to protect those type people, in my opinion.
It's the same thing when you have the pushback of that the restaurant owner who's have the women twerk, a Black-owned restaurant, women were twerking on the table, say, listen, I create this place for Black people. I will hold herself as a standard. You don't like that, you get the F about my restaurant. And they bash him for it.
But he shouldn't have did that. See, if that was my restaurant, first thing I would have pulled my waiter to the side. I said, hey, we don't tolerate. This is your job. Go fix it.
Exactly.
He tried to. And
the police should have been called, right? That's where I come in.
Can I say something, y'all? E-Man came in here saying some of y'all said something horrible. E-Man, I'm returning the statement. What you said was just horrible. How you gonna put up when somebody is gonna be bold enough to twerk? You can go see your own. That's something for the owner to get up there and actually make a statement and do what he did.
Exactly.
So the owner of that restaurant did what he was supposed to do. The waiter,
let me say something.
I guarantee that the waiter did try to stop it. I guarantee that the waiter did try to stop it.
But you can't let him off the hook. His first mistake was he was saying he was trying to create a certain environment, but you had twerk music on. Am I excusing them for it? No. But you don't go in there and have big booty hoes on the damn thing and don't expect people to act that way.
So people drop off a cliff now.
Tommy.
Just follow them. Come on now. It's a choice. It's a choice.
No, I'm saying you can't.
No, listen.
I don't normally do this. That's
You
cap.
can't say you're trying to create a certain environment and have Luke playing in the background and don't expect that crowd to come.
No, my pushback on that is that right there is basically saying that our people don't have enough self-discipline to know when there's a time and a place to conduct it. They were on top of the sofa and table.
No, Nathan.
I can't control myself.
What I'm saying is you're attracting the people that don't have self-discipline to your establishment.
I hear the music. I can't control myself. Like, what are we saying?
No, but Nathan,
what are we saying?
I think it's really important.
Nathan, most people that do have that type of self-discipline, they not out listening to that type of shit.
But I do want to ask. I want to respond to Sir Hell. Sir Hell, when I'm developing a business, it's really important that I make sure my staff know how to operate with me not being there. That's the secret to really being able to create success. So the reason I said that I wouldn't interview, I would say, hey, try to stop them. If they couldn't stop them, what do I do next? I get the police and call, ask them to leave. If they don't want to leave, I want you to call the police because I need you to be able to handle these type situations when I'm on the beach in Mexico. I need my business to be able to run without you feeling like the owner's gonna come to your aid in every single situation.
I got a response.
Let me respond real quick.
Nathan, before you say that, I got a response.
Go ahead.
He's got to have the business long enough to be able to afford to be on the beach. And if you got people in there who's bringing the quality of your business, now he doesn't get there.
But no, Sir Hell, that's the point. I'm not saying don't handle the situation. What I'm saying is that the whole goal of running a business is finding a way for that business to run
you're not
without
wrong.
you.
You're not wrong. But that situation, he did what he had to do because he was there. Now, I do expect what you're saying.
Here's the problem.
I do agree that he should have got rid of him quick.
Here's the problem you guys are missing, and this is where my profession comes in on this. What did the business owner do? Which is why I agree with Emmanuel. He exposed himself to civil liability. This is why you keep those barriers. This is why he talks about a gatekeeper. No matter what, he has to stay out of it. He has to stay out of it. This is why top business guys have drivers, because they can't afford to get into car accidents.
Big sexy.
You know.
No, Jesus.
Okay, with the struggle pecs.
Okay.
The struggle
Nathan, can you explain to me a little bit about civil liability? Can you explain a little bit about civil? Because to be honest with you, I would like to understand. Because for me, I know that you're ex-police officer and stuff like that, and when you start talking about calling the police, I'm a little hesitant.
Why is that?
Because I'm from the Bronx. Because I'm like, I feel like the police for me, like, let me back up. Like, for instance, I'm in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the police has to come here for any reason at all, it's a wrap. I'm all here talking about, I've been married for 24 years. It's a wrap if the police has to come here even one time. So for me, as it pertains to Black people, Black women, and calling the police, I'm like hesitant. For me, I know your experience is different because you've seen different, you've been trained different, and I've watched your videos. But for me, when it comes to calling the police on Black women, Black men, and I just get a little hesitant. So just please help me. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I'm saying I need some help to explain to me what this civil liability, what you're talking about, is.
All right. So
after you finish that, Nate, I want to respond to what she just said.
All right, excellent. And then Emmanuel, I have a question for you too. You guys, don't let me forget this, because I have a proposition that I've been putting together with other nonprofits and different groups in Atlanta, and I want to understand this business concept properly. That I'm actually going to try to push out as an idea. And I want to get Emmanuel, I want to get your input, because I'm a baby business owner, right? Like I don't know a lot, but I'm learning as I go. So I want to touch on that because I think it's something important for the panel to listen to and get an understanding on how we can do business in the community. So in reference to your question, there's a stigma with law enforcement, as we know, when it comes to the Black community. As you guys know, my channel, the purpose of my channel is to help fight that stigma and then create and then bring insight so that we have a different type of understanding. What we also have to remember is, you know, the police get called into our community by other Black people, right? Black people are victims of crimes by our own people, and therefore we end up calling the police to mitigate those situations. I'm 100% for, if you can handle the situation on your own properly, handling. You don't need to bring police into every situation, really, unless it's violent and someone's life is in danger. Is the only time we actually need law enforcement, you know. But we end up calling them for a lot of things that, as adults, we should be able to handle on our own. This is the problem, right? I have patrolled communities, small communities like Ethiopian communities, Indian communities, Asian communities, and they don't call the police at all. And I've had cases where the neighbor have called the police on an Ethiopian family or an Indian family, and I show up and no one's talking, right? So there's an understanding, you know, and so we snitch on each other all the time over stuff, petty stuff that gets us wound up in jail. And we know that some New York, we have some officers all throughout this country that have some ego problems. So to your point, Candid, I agree with you on that, and I don't disagree with you. But I will say, though, don't ever let a situation that looks and appears to be dangerous, you know, don't let your fear or your discomfort or anxiety for police stop you from, you know, potentially that could be saving and helping someone, right? So I always tell Black people that, like, we get it, but if that was someone you cared about, you would want someone to call the police, right? So now in reference to the matter at hand, you have a business. I've arrested plenty of business owners. Why is that? They expose themselves. You know, you can go on YouTube and find videos where business owners have tried to challenge customers, right? And they put their face out there, they put their name out there, and then what ends up happening? People vandalize the business, people boycott the business. People say, oh, okay, you're in the Black community and you're actually an Arab, you know, Arab. And what happened? We had one recently here in Atlanta where a gentleman walked in and they judged him by his clothes and said, hey, your outfit is not appropriate for here. Your shoes that you're wearing is not appropriate. And then he says, listen, that lady sitting right over at the bar is wearing the same damn tennis shoes, and you let her in. So now you're not letting me in? I need to talk to the owner, right? He made a big deal. The owner finally comes out and he has a verbal altercation with this grown Black man. I mean, 6'2", 400-pound Black man, and the man was following him. It turned really nasty. You know, then this business owner now has to go online and give this massive apology. He's in the news now. You know, he exposed himself. He's supposed to be behind the scenes. Even if he was there, he does not come out. He's like a king or a queen. They're supposed to be guarded. They're supposed to be guarded from that civil. It's that civil liability. Now he's exposed. People know who he is. People are looking him up, right? He compromised his family. He compromised his investments, right? Now investors are like, hey, you know, you got 2 restaurants. Is this how you're treating Black people? I can't afford it because now they're shutting, they're boycotting your business. We're losing money. Now what ends up happening, now that man who feels like he was racially profiled, right? He was racially profiled, now files a complaint against the Better Business Bureau. Now he decides to sue him, right? Saying that he was violated. His constitutional rights were violated. I was discriminated against. I was racially discriminated against. Oh, you've lost everything at that point. You get sued and you lose everything. That is an Emmanuel.
But these are 2 different things, right?
No, they're not. They're not.
So let me say something.
I'm agreeing about the civil part, but I mean the context for these 2 are different, right?
No. What I'm saying,
because if that gentleman who responded to the girls twerking, and we know sometimes our people can be a little bit difficult to deal with, and they decide to splash water on him, or they decide to get in his face, right? And he feels threatened and decides to push one. Then the boyfriend shows up, or the girls get mad and they call the boyfriend.
I'm agreeing on that part.
No, I know that. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you. I'm saying based on experience. These how things start to evolve and escalate. You know, it starts off very simple. You kick these girls out. They called their thug boyfriend. He shows up and vandalizes the entire business, and then waits for the owner to step outside. This has happened, you guys.
Amen. Before you go, can I say this? The quick thing, just this quick thing, just to this point. Like what I'm saying, the context, as far as exposure, that's the same. Completely agree. I can't debate that. I'm saying, listen to what the guy when the ladies were twerking. Listen to what he said. Because we're talking about black business now.
Right.
I'm trying to build a business and establishment for our community. That's what I'm saying. So he wasn't just trying to, it wasn't that he was trying to be combative. He's literally, what we're talking about now, he was doing that in practice. True. That's what I'm saying. The context is a little bit different. The exposure, right. But I'm saying if we want our people to not expose themselves, they're trying to build businesses to get to that place is what I'm saying. So he was appealing to that. And that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So
but the moment, but understanding how to, and Emmanuel can speak to this because I can't, but the trick is if we are going to be business owners, we have to understand there's rules to it. There's a way, there's rules of engagement when you're dealing with things. And this leads to the professionalism conversation we have about in our community. You know, if you're back here, you're at the business and you're working, and then you want to come out and address a complaint directly because you got offended, or you want to make some type of I guess you could say you want to market yourself and say, hey, I'm not going to have this here. This is unacceptable. Okay, you just expose yourself. And so in the conversation, when we're talking about black businesses and what's the proper etiquette, how do we handle ourselves in situations like this? What is the best practice? Because if you're not careful, again, these things can evolve and they can escalate, and it can be very detrimental to you and the business that you're even building. Go ahead, Emmanuel.
Well, I just want to say this right here. So let me tell you this right here. It's a reason that you can't talk to CEOs of companies. It's a reason, like you can't just go into Facebook and say, I want to talk to Mark Zuckerberg. Because let me tell you what could have happened, because I'm from Georgia, and let me tell you, our women in Georgia, they can go from 0 to 100 real quick. He could have say this happened. Say, for example, he got to talking and we all could say that his message was popular. Imagine if a fight broke out, right? Not with those girls, but somebody in that restaurant got hurt or got hit by the owner. It's a level of liability there that he's just not going to be able to get past. So that's why I strongly suggest that the police already got a bad stigma. Get them involved. Because once you get them involved and the police tell her to leave, I'm like, man, these police kicked me out this restaurant compared to the business owner kicked me out of these restaurants. It's a whole different conversation. And so you got to understand, every time you get a little bit, a lawsuit is coming. And he really opened himself up to a lawsuit. Like I'm saying, them girls didn't have money, but if he was dealing with people with money, they would have hurt his pockets. And it's not even about winning the case. Some of these things, I'm just going to keep you in court long enough that you run out of money. Your business fail. You lose your house. And so that's why I was saying that he should not open himself up, because I understand. I done seen people build their business at $2.5 million and lose it just because they was in court for 2.5 years. So that's the point that I'm telling you, is that
no disagreement on that point. No disagreement there.
So that's why I say he shouldn't have checked it. He should have got his waiter to do it, see how they function. And if not, he could have been the one who called.
But I think we're assuming he didn't, though. That's the point that I made.
He did. And I went to that restaurant afterward. I went to that restaurant after the whole event simply because my husband supported his message so much. He was like, oh, we're going to eat here. So I went to Texas and I went to that restaurant. And to Tommy's point, although I don't agree with the fact that we don't have self-control, but the music does add. Like, I could barely hear my husband and my little brother next to me because it was just DMX playing in the background. And so I'm not saying that we shouldn't have self-control. I'm from the Caribbean. We have soca music. We dance almost half naked in the streets. I 100% understand music and having fun. But what I am saying is that if you was listening to Anita Baker, if you were listening to Sade, if you were listening to some music that was adding to the elevation of that music, that might have been circumvented. I'm not saying that women should be on people's tables. I'm not. You got no fight with me there. Wrong is wrong.
I disagree with that. Hold on, let me just say one thing. The reason I disagree with it, because we tell men, just because women walking around half naked,
talk to him, Emmanuel.
Like, so we can't say just because.
One mic.
But if I roll up on the side of a police officer and I play fuck the police and they pull me over, what's the first thing you'll tell me? You shouldn't have played fuck the police. You brought that on yourself.
but we're talking about how you move from a professional point of view. And what I want to say is, just like no man, I believe this right here. No man have the right to just walk up and touch and feel on a girl just because she's dressed some kind of way. You can't say that these women had the right to act this way just because they play a certain level.
Listen, Eman. Listen, two things can be true at the same time. I in no way whatsoever support those women doing what they did. Please listen to me. I'm just because I'm agreeing that that the music should be different does not mean that I still agree that they should be on there twerking. Please listen to what I'm saying. Two things can be true at the same time.
Candid, I don't understand what you're saying now, Candid. I'm under the impression you said because it was so loud, you couldn't. You up there being nice, and you can't. No,
I'm saying the music is ratchet. I'm saying the music is hip hop ratchet music that lends itself to wanting to do that type of nonsense. Though I don't agree, I still think they should have decorum. I still think the onus is on the women to have decorum. But
I'm with you
the music almost invites that shit in.
And that's what I was gonna say. When he did his interview and he explained how the restaurant, like the atmosphere of the restaurant, it doesn't match the music that they're playing in there, and that's what I'm saying. Like you're saying you want this certain atmosphere, but you playing this.
I don't care. We are adults.
That's her body. That's his
agency. But that's called preventive measures.
So hold on. Okay, I like where you went there. So you said,
I agree with you on that, that's why men say that to women, 100%.
So
hold on. Go ahead.
Because there's some
weirdo
dudes out
I'm
here
gonna wait.
that can't help themselves. Yes, it probably would help you if you didn't dress a certain way. Because yes, there are loony men out here, not excusing their actions, but there are loony ass dudes out here that will see you in that outfit and go after you. So nobody's saying that loony dude is right for doing it, but that's why men make that argument. That's
Tommy
what I'm saying about that same.
I love you, my brother, but we gotta have a standard on stuff. We gotta have a standard on stuff. It can't be this way, but this way.
Sir Hill, you can have standards, but what I'm saying is to maintain that standard, don't bring the people who don't hold that standard towards your establishment. That music is what's going to bring that in. We know what music is going to make them twerk. We know this.
I doubt it.
Shout out to Courtney with that juvenile quote.
That juvenile quote.
If they was playing Luther Vandross, you think they'd have been up there twerking?
I think they would have been there at the restaurant.
You know, but
that's my point, Sir Hill. That's my point.
I think this raises a bigger problem, and then Sir Hales, I'll let you go.
I get what you're saying, but
the problem is the issue is what did that really show? Because what you guys are saying is, you know, our people are brainwashed. Our people are brainwashed with music. We have no self-control.
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Did I misinterpret that?
Can I tell you?
Right, Nate. You're right.
Am I wrong?
What did Courtney say? Hold on.
It's real quick.
What did Courtney just say? She pointed out, if you play that juvenile song, I don't care where you are. Someone's twerking. You guys are familiar with the psychology, right? Psychology, Pavlov's dog. This is deeper than what you guys are saying.
So Nathan,
I'm asking you guys to swim deep. Come in the deep end now. Come in the deep end with me.
I see where you're going.
Swim.
I know
if you can swim.
I see where you're going.
All right. If you can swim and you're not afraid of drowning, I need you to step out here in the deep end with me just for a little bit. Look at what is Jedi Mike? He in there sweep. Come on, we out here in the deep, you guys. What's the problem? The problem is music is powerful. Music is influential. What did Tommy say? Tommy said he's right. If you don't want that type of behavior, don't play the music. What did Sir Hale say? We should, as adults, still be able to conduct ourselves and know and have common sense. This is not a club. This is a restaurant. Shouldn't matter what we play. But what's the problem? The problem is our community has been so indoctrinated by the music that when you play it, this is why gang members, I'll tell you this, I'll interview gang members and robbers, and these guys will tell you, I got to put this music on in order to get into the mood. Can
I say something? Have you ever arrested somebody because they listened to the wrong song? I'm arresting you because, like, let's be for real. right?
I had someone. Let me tell you, I had someone to tell me.
Nate, I didn't know you done locked them up, Nate. No lie, Nate. You look like you locked them up.
I had someone
out my car playing that music.
I pulled in a community. I pulled in a
Courtney,
community, and somebody was playing, some NWA "Fuck the Police," right? So then I turned back around with Bad Boys and started playing that on the loudspeaker riding through the neighborhood. Listen, it's simple, Pat. I'm petty, and I just keep it moving.
Right.
We don't have to say nothing. We don't have to say nothing.
I'm rocking with you after that story, Nathan. I'm rocking with you after that story.
Let me say this real quick. So there was if you want to go look at it on YouTube, there is a video on YouTube where they had the Color Purple stage play, and everybody was dressed up. Everybody was dressed in their best. Everybody was dressed real classy. And in the middle of that, the DJ went they were playing Anita Baker, Luther Vandross. Everybody was just sitting down calm. And then all of a sudden, they put on Back That Ass Up, bro. I don't know if the DJ made a mistake. I don't know if that was the next thing on his list.
That's a trolling song.
But Back That Ass Up came on, and you should have seen them damn dresses hiked up. Them damn dudes took their hats off behind their wives. They wives dropping it to the floor. I'm like, oh my God.
Pavlov dog. And my point is to the opposite side. If you have an establishment and say you want everybody to just sit down and be quiet and eat. Now, this is where white folks put on I Got Friends in low places and see what the motherfuckers gonna do. They go sing. That's what
we don't mind singing.
Made for.
We don't mind singing. We want them to talk. We don't want them to clear off the table and twerk.
What I'm saying is, if you have a restaurant and that's not what you want to have,
what you say?
I don't want you to be twerking next to my Caesar salad.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but Sir Hill, you
you
belong to the
water.
church, right? You're part of the church. What happens when you want a gospel music is hot? Like that thing will get you moving. So like, are you telling me that music, like that, even though you're putting on that that gospel music that you expect people to
I don't do that.
be quiet, you know for a fact that music does.
See, what are y'all? See what I don't like about this as a musician. What y'all are doing is y'all are conflating different contexts. If I'm at a church and I want you to be inspired and hopeful, I'm going to play something that way. I do not want you to dance next to me eating my food next to my children.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I just said with the music about the restaurant. The point that you're making right now is exactly why I made the point that I made. Because you're saying you're basically making my point for me. If you're at church and you don't want people doing all of that, you're going to play a certain type of music, which is what I just said.
At a restaurant,
now, keep in mind that I still don't believe those women should not have respect. I do believe they should have respect. I'm not taking that away from them. I'm not saying that they're right for going on there and acting like that. I'm saying
I want to tell you something. I want to come, brother Black Man. I got a confession.
Go
ahead.
On your show, I got a confession, y'all.
Hold on, let me give you the screen, Doc. Come on.
Well, give him his. Hold on. Let me get my mic ready.
Play the usher.
Church, this is for real, y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
Church.
Well,
I want to come to you humbly and tell you that even though I'm a believer,
yes, Lord,
I love trap music, baby. I love it. I love trap music. But just because I love trap music, it doesn't give me the right to act the fool when I hear it played.
No one is saying that.
I don't like trap music.
Hold on a second. I want 30 seconds, right?
Listen,
I am not saying it gives anybody the right to conduct themselves that way. What I am saying is that we all know that music influences people to behave a certain way. And so therefore, if you're going to want to create an environment, right, that is conducive to a certain elevated type of environment, then don't introduce that music into. Am I saying that the women should get on there and start yada yada yada? Am I saying that they're supposed to do that? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, as a business owner, if that's not what I want in my business, then I'm not going to even have that as an option on the table. That's all I'm saying. There's onus on both sides. As a Black woman, I'm never going into someone's business and conducting myself that way. Like I said, I'm from the Caribbean. We dance half naked in the streets, okay? And I know better than to go into somebody's business and do that.
Hey, Nate.
For music, if you've seen Rihanna dancing, we have that
Belizean friends. It get crazy.
I participated in that festival in Barbados, half naked in the streets. It's appropriate then. I would not do that mess someplace else. So what I'm saying is there's onus on both sides. It doesn't mean that because I'm saying that the restaurant owner should have changed the music, I'm not saying that all the women are wrong. They're wrong also. There's onus on both sides. That's all I'm saying. As a business owner, I'm gonna have Anita Baker, I'm gonna have Sade, I'm gonna have something soothing, relaxing. I'm not gonna invite that crazy music because I don't want that crowd coming into my place thinking that this is a club.
I disagree because it's his restaurant.
And that's why he got the results that he got.
No,
It be your club, but if you put your club up on, guess what's gonna happen? They gonna tear your shit up.
It's a restaurant, guys. It's a restaurant. It's a restaurant.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I this is not negotiable to me. I just expect a higher for black folks. I just know you just gave them power. Think about it. He's the type of people control when you give them power. Like, yeah, you can be influenced, but like, okay, just that same dude as men, I talk about being sexually disciplined. Oh yeah, well, if some women have power over you sexually, guess what? You give her, she has power over you. Power over you. Be stronger than that.
Chicago got something to say. It don't matter. There's always gonna be people who don't meet that. And if you don't want to attract those people to your establishment, then don't play shit that's going to attract them. If you don't want motherfuckers fighting in your club, you better not play certain songs. If you don't want to have to be picking people up off the ground, you better not play certain songs. That's a fact.
Hold on. Chicago, she's been trying to say something for a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to say this real quick. So I'm from Chicago, right? So there's plenty of clubs out here. There's plenty different atmospheres. There's plenty different places to go in Chicago, right? So when I used to go to the club, I don't go to the club anymore. I'm 30. I like lounges now, right? But when I used to go to the club, I would go to one club called Adriana's. And then Adriana's, though, they played the ratchet music. And when you played the ratchet music, sometimes the men would go up. I remember I came in there one time and I had got my booty touched by some dude I did not know. I was ready to fight. I didn't fight because, I was like, okay, I'm in that kind of atmosphere. I think I win again. Maybe it's a fluke. Nope, it happened again. I wasn't even dressed provocatively. However, it still happened. So I went to another club, predominantly black as well, because Adriana's is predominantly black. I went to another club called The Shrine. It's no longer here, but it's predominantly black. I went there, heard some black music as well. Not one black person grabbed my butt. All the black men respected me. We had a conversation. We was able to dance. Nobody bothered me. But guess which one played the ratchet music? Two separate clubs,
but that's
predominantly black. But only one area where I got my butt grabbed twice. I went twice to the same clubs, to the other club called The Shrine, and not once did my behind get grabbed.
But Chicago,
different atmosphere.
The problem with what you're saying is when you go to a club, it's a dancing environment. A restaurant.
That's not my point. That's not my point. My point is
to you.
Thank you. However, my point was this. My point is, if you listen to a certain kind of music, a certain kind of atmosphere happens. It just does. I didn't blame the black men. There was different kind of black men in both clubs. It wasn't the point wasn't
blame them. Blame anybody who does that.
But that's not
my point. That's not my point.
Chicago,
I get your point.
If you had the same, but Chicago, if you had the same black men in two different clubs acting different, we could have a great point. But what happened is that guy who was at that club could have been at the Shrine and he could have grabbed your butt there too. It's the mentality of that person is what I'm saying. And like I said, I'm not saying it's right. He should not have did that. I want to make that clear.
But E-Man, I think the point of all points is what I said to Sir Hill. If there's Plain Luther Vandross, and his reply was they probably wouldn't be there. And that's literally the point that we're making. Is literally if they had played a certain type of music, that element never even enters your establishment. That's the point.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something why I disagree.
Customer, though. You got to cater to your clientele.
But in his interview, that's not even the type of customer he was catering to.
But
they had kids in there.
But
I think you understand something. Ratchet people are going to be ratchet wherever they go.
No. This is what I'm telling you, Tommy B. It was more than just them there. And the biggest point that I want you to make is everybody wasn't performing the way they was. Somebody might would have just been enjoying the music and was just like, hey, I'm vibing with it. So what happened to the other 15, 20 customers who like the music? They just want to be in that atmosphere.
But
you can't
still have to, but
man, that's my point that I was making about trap. I like to be in, sorry, Saints. I like trap music and I just want to be around that sometimes, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to participate in, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the point. That's the exact point that I'm making. Tommy B, so let me ask you a question. Tommy B, let me ask you a question.
Hold on, we got a question for Tommy B. We got a question for Tommy B. Go ahead.
Okay.
Since you advocating for twerking music, there, brother Tommy.
Advocating for it.
Yeah.
I'm just
saying, if you at a restaurant and they playing twerking music, are you telling me you can't? Tommy B, chill. Tommy B and chill, chilling. Tommy B, chilling. You telling me you can't control yourself, brother Tommy?
See, this is what you guys aren't understanding. If I see a woman,
I want a yes or no. If you twerking, if the twerking music comes on,
I can control myself. I'm acknowledging that there's men out there that can't. I'm acknowledging that there's people out there who cannot help but to twerk.
Why do the business owners change their whole business plan? Because
that's what I'm saying. I don't
accountability, ladies and gentlemen.
That's gonna spiral.
Because he's the one saying that he doesn't want that element in there.
Nathan Daly, this is why we need you, sir. This is why we got the police.
Of the vibe of that music. If you listen to what you said, the atmosphere of that restaurant is, it's not the atmosphere of that music.
So Tommy B, let me
Blame
break
Jack
it down
Daniels,
from a
not the
Denver's
guy who
point
got
of view.
behind the wheel of a car.
So we should discipline our kids. We shouldn't discipline our kids
anymore.
anymore. Because it's the video game for the kids. It's the video games that's getting them. It's the music that's getting them. It's like we can raise our kids, tell them that don't listen to the music, don't play the game. But as adults, it's the music. Come on, guys, we gotta grow up.
No,
we gotta grow up.
Nobody's
I can control myself when I went to both clubs, right? I went to both clubs, right? I'm the same person. I no longer went to Adriana's no more because I noticed what kind of atmosphere it brought. It's just something that just happens with that kind of music. It just is what it is. Yeah. Now, do I go home sometimes and play some ratchet music by myself? Hell yeah. But am I going somewhere where it's predominantly ratchet music so I can be infected by that type of atmosphere? No. So I understand that certain people cannot control themselves. I understand that. So I choose not to go or do certain things that can create that atmosphere. It has absolutely nothing to do with controlling yourself. Listen to the lyrics. You know, the lyrics are talking about backing that thing up. So somebody gonna back that thing up.
Listen, I've listened to that song and I've never backed it up. I've never backed it up and I've heard it multiple times. I've never backed it up and I've heard the song multiple times.
Because it wasn't made for you.
Self-control is the thing.
But we can hope you have this point. Hey, so Nate. So hey, Nate, you said you had a question for me earlier, and I wanted you told me not to let you forget that question.
Yes. Let me bring this up. I think this will bring us back to the main back to the source of this stream real quick. Because all you guys bring up really good points. You know, I think ultimately what we can agree on is that we have some people who are unable to control themselves in our community. Bingo. And that's just what it is.
No. In the world.
That's true.
It ain't just us.
No, we know that, but we can only control us, right? We can only impact. We can only impact us, right? So, you know, let's be clear. You know, dysfunction is everywhere. It's not like we don't hold the monopoly to dysfunction, ignorance, and poverty. We just don't. To be honest,
I've seen fights in so many white bars, it ain't even funny. So,
but they don't kill each other like we do, though.
You know, see, this is what I dislike about conversations like this. And I'm gonna tell you what I dislike about this.
I don't. Hold on one second, Sir Hale. Because we got to be clear. You know, we don't. Granted, everybody does everything, right? Again, we don't monopolize drama. We're not here to, you know, people say struggle Olympics or however they explain it. You know, this dysfunction impacts everybody. But when we're talking about the Black community, we're talking about our issues, the things that we have control over. We're not talking about what other people are doing because we can barely control dancing in restaurants, right? So we need to control what's in our home and not what's in everybody else's home. And I think that's the problem at the end of the day, what Sir Hale is about to touch on. So
we're Black kings and queens, and we've overcome multiple generations of
but
slavery.
my problem
We build
is-
a business, but the music, I can't help myself.
I
Like,
can't
listen,
help
we've
it.
overcome. Like, come on,
when
guys.
we say certain stuff, we don't acknowledge that it's a human problem. It's not a black problem.
No, it's a black problem.
No, it's not. We
No,
buy
but
rims. Hold on.
This the
Because we
problem.
talk
So,
all
guys-
this shit about, oh, we buy rims, we buy shoes, and then white boys go buy them lifted ass trucks that they can't afford. They buy them 4-wheelers that they
But the
can't
problem
afford.
is, the problem is,
blow their money a different
deflect-
way.
the
than we
only
do. They
issue-
blow their fucking money.
No. That's not the problem. The problem isn't that everybody does it. The problem is when white people get the flu, black people get Ebola, right? This is the issue. That's the issue. That things that the normal stuff that affects everybody hurts us 10 times worse. So when you say, John over here and Smith and Tommy, they have a shoe problem too. They're buying up stuff they got no business buying, but they come home and don't have the same type of economic dysfunction like our community has.
Bullshit. Yes, they do.
But
No, they don't.
White
We wouldn't be
people got
having
the
this
same issues as
conversation.
poor black
But
people. What are you
Tommy,
talking- like,
Tommy,
don't
you're
say
right.
apart.
But again, it's too many of us that are not where we should be, and that's why it matters more. So what you're
Correct.
saying is right.
And
But
again,
this is-
Tommy,
but this is the problem.
Tommy, I will say this: you are right. You're right because there's 60%, right? So of course there's more of them. The problem is we're 13%, and there's too many of us who aren't where we need to be. You guys, we wouldn't be having this conversation if we had our shit together, right? This panel wouldn't exist.
But Nate,
Go ahead.
This is my problem. The problem is every time we bring something up to somebody, say, Nate, I'm gonna use you because I know you can take it, right?
Yes, sir.
So I say, Nate, you need to get your shit together, Nate. You fucking up. You say, hey, but Tommy B ain't got his shit together. What
Correct.
what that gotta do with you?
Correct.
Nate, we need to get you
Absolutely.
together. And
Correct.
as a business coach, I see it all the time. People keep saying, well, these white people doing this, white people that. How is that
Correct.
gonna matter in your life? And so when we
It's
talk
not
about the
bad.
black community, we need to focus in on what the problem is, correct it, and move forward. Not keep pointing the finger because it's called deflecting. Every time we deflect away from the community, we don't correct the problem that it is. That's all I'm
True,
saying.
but what Tommy is saying, Tommy's talking about something slightly different, and I agree with what he's saying. So Tommy, I understand where you're coming from, Tommy.
Yeah.
So you don't have to clarify, but we're talking about two different things.
I
But
don't
Tommy's talking about
understand.
slightly different.
We're not
Emmanuel,
doing big.
But okay. So let me tell you guys. The issue, right? We're gonna circle back around the purpose of this stream real quick, and then I want to present this to you guys because I thought really heavily on it, and I'm trying to put it in the right hands. At this point, it doesn't matter who comes up with the idea; it's just a matter of us actually accomplishing it, right? So here's my vision. The problem, we know what the problem is. We have people who've infiltrated our communities, and we've allowed them in there, and they are reaping the benefits of our dollar, right? We've given up a lot of economic ground in our community. We know this. So what is the issue? I spoke to a businessman, Emmanuel. You have to let me know what you think about this. We're talking about Black-owned businesses. This conversation right now is about Black-owned businesses and supporting it. And he said that even if someone like, say, Sheree, right? Sheree comes up with a beauty supply or a beauty supply company, and she has only one, and she's the only one in the Black community. But again, the Black community might be an entire city. She's the only Black-owned beauty supply business. And this gentleman told me that the problem with the plan, with the issues in the Black community and growing it when it comes to business, is that we're not giving Black people enough. I guess you would say, what do you call it? We're not giving each other, we don't have enough of that one business to actually support. So if Sheree starts a beauty supply company and she has one business in the community, there's not a lot of alternatives, right, that are also Black, to end up encouraging Black people to stop supporting those that are not Black-owned businesses in order to support the Black business. Is that something that you see as an issue as well, or is there a way to circumvent around that? And then I'll tell you what my vision is, and I'm curious to know if you think it's actually possible. So again, let me rephrase it because I kind of stepped all over myself. We have Sheree started a beauty supply company. She only has one. She's the only Black-owned one within the community, right? But technically, there's 20, and they're all Asian, right? So the issue this gentleman told me is that the problem is that there's not enough of us establishing these businesses to where the Black community can actually let go of supporting the Asians to support the Black. Is that fair to say? Because that's what he broke it down.
That's not fair to say. So
Okay.
let me tell you the biggest problem with Black community. The biggest problem is it's the consistency.
Okay.
With the Asian community, I know they're gonna be open at 8 o'clock, and I know they're closing at 8 p.m. every single day. See, the Black, every time a funeral comes up, every time a birthday come up, every time something comes up, Black people are closing their doors and that business is going somewhere else. It only takes one time for a customer. So as a customer, if I go to Sheree's business and her business is not open, I still need those things. I'm going right down to the Asian place to get it. And so I think it's really a dependable. I think a lot of people think we're not as dependable enough to be able to do it. So I don't think it's that, because the goal is for her to be able to franchise. So if I was working with her, I was like, hey, we need to have you open like so much success, and then we're gonna go and franchise so that you can put another one of these downtown. Because the money is not in the single locations, in the multiple locations. But the problem is I need you to be consistent enough. I need to know, right? I don't care about no birthdays, funerals, this, that, and third. Monday through Saturday or Monday through Sunday, somebody's gonna be here to open. Y'all gonna open on time. You know how many Black businesses I've been to?
That's a fantastic point.
How many Black businesses I've been to? I get there at 8 o'clock like me. I like getting my hair cut in the morning time if I can. And so if I get there at 8 o'clock, I don't need you smoking a blunt on the side of the street because I'm going to a business meeting. I need you to be in that chair waiting for me because I am a priority. And so when people start saying, hey, why did you start getting your hair cut by the Asian guy? Because the Asian guy let me do an appointment. He's there at 7:30 and he's consistent. I know he's going to be there for the next 10 years. He's not getting locked up.
That should have never happened.
And so that's the point that I'm making, is that we got the biggest problem is not the Black white race thing. It's the consistency that is the lack of consistency and being professional in our community.
Well, can I say
something? Those two things,
because ain't no Asian cutting my hair. So Black barbers kind of have they got a little leg to stand on, because ain't nobody going to no supercuts and getting a number 2, bro.
And you know what? I was at work one day, and my coworker came to me and he was like, "Hey, bro, hey man, we need to go try my homeboy got some badass hamburgers, bro. You want to go try one?" I said, "Yeah, cool, no problem, whatever." He said, all right, let's go." So I said, "We got to call it in first?" "No, man, he good, man. They got quick service in and out." I said, "All right, cool." We get there around 12:30. I look around, nobody in the parking lot. So I guess he's slow today. We go to the door locked. He called his homeboy. "Hey man, y'all open today?" "Oh man, I woke up late, bro. I'll be there in a minute."
I was at the club. You know how they Hennessy do.
Like, man,
what
you know business is this? I said,
the staff thing is, did you get a burger? I bet it was fly.
No, I didn't
get terrible service, but the food be good.
Man, I didn't get it. He told me I'll be there in a minute. Lunch almost over.
Let me ask you guys this, and this is the vision that I had. Because again, you know, earlier when I was giving you that example, when I took my mom out for Mother's Day and we went to all these different locations, you know, we can go again to the grocery store, the nail shop, the beauty supply store, the cleaners, the dry cleaners. We can go to all these, the liquor store. We can go to all these businesses in our community, and none of them are Black. My vision is that, Emmanuel, I want your thoughts on this too, on not only, you know, sometimes I'm a big dreamer, but I'm always curious about how practical it is, right? Is it possible that in our Black community, say for example, because we don't have this in Atlanta either, right? And this is supposed to be the Black Mecca. And so say we have in the city of Atlanta, we have like a central hub, like a giant, as how they're building these mall strips, almost like a strip of businesses. And in that one building for the entire community, right? We're talking about whatever, you know, maybe 1 mile or probably like 4 mile radius. This one strip is here to supply all the needs of the community, right? Remember, the goal is to choke out all these other businesses that don't have any business being there, right? And here's my vision. We have this plaza. So you guys imagine this. If you could just, just close your eyes for a second and imagine this, right? We have this one large plaza, this business. And inside that business, you have a urgent care center. You have a dentist office. You have a supermarket. right? You have a tutoring place. You have a what else? A barbershop. You have what are the essential? You have a law office. What are the essential businesses that we need? You have a cleaners, a dry cleaners, and then if you really need a liquor store, maybe one liquor store, that's the only liquor store allowed. You know how that goes, right? And then whatever other essential business we need to thrive in our
Come on.
And one beauty supply store. We need a beauty supply store that's owned. And listen, when you have this plaza and all these businesses are going to be franchised, the goal is to franchise this plan and duplicate it for other communities. Duplicate this one plan for other communities, a centrally located business for all of our needs, right? And we encourage our community within this 4-mile, 5-mile radius to only go in this area for your grocery store. What do we call it? We can call it Sir Hale's supermarket, right? Sir Hale's supermarket. And we duplicate Sir Hale's supermarket.
I ain't going over that wax
stuff.
Community. Sir Hale. Let me tell you the problem with stuff. Ain't got nothing I like over there. Like, you got to do. We call something different.
Well,
all right. Well, we call it Jedi Mike's.
Sir Hale, the problem is potato chips.
Yeah, let me know what you think about that. I mean, because to me that's just.
Let me tell you the problem. See, the problem is, so I'm connected to the Asian community. I'm just gonna say that.
All right.
I'm connected to the Asian community, and the one thing is, when they do these things, how many people, Black people, you think gonna be able to say, "Hey, I'm gonna commit to this vision for the next 30 to 35 years"? When you talk about the Asian community took over the hair, nails, and all that, they did that over 35 to 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
They didn't do it for one generation. They said we're gonna be consistent. Matter of fact, the women will tell you, if you go to these Asian places that do nails, they like 5 or 6 generations deep of consistency. Yeah. And so the problem is, I think in the Black community, most Black people saying, "Man, I gotta become the best in this lifetime. I only can." And you talked about this a little bit earlier.
That's right.
You talked about this a little bit earlier. They're not thinking about this community doesn't survive unless you 3 generations deep. And so I think that's the problem, is who's going to give up? Because these people, the first group of Asians, they lived off minimum wage for 50 years.
Yeah, they died on the sword.
Yeah,
they died on the sword for the next generation. So the question then lies. So let me ask you: is it a good idea though?
No.
Okay, why?
The reason it's a horrible idea, and this is just my opinion.
You're the business guy.
The reason I think it's a hard idea is because we're fighting so hard to go backwards. And I feel like everybody know I don't believe in racism, but how can we tell white people not to bring Black people into business? Then we try to push everybody else out. So I think it won't.
I know what you're saying. But that's not what it is.
I get what you're saying. From a liability point of view, what happened when that first Asian person, that first white person go and try to rent a place in this area. And then now we're discriminating against them because this is a Black space. That's the same thing that's the same thing Black people been saying to white people for years. Hey,
correct.
Y'all discriminate. So that's
pause 1 second, Emmanuel. Pause 1 second. What you're saying is, again, everyone's already doing that. This the reason. No, yes, they are. Yes, they are, Emmanuel. Everyone's already doing that. This is where the whole systemic racism idea formulated from. Systemic, meaning that they have control over an entire system and they're not letting anybody in. So the idea is that Black people can't create their own institutions, their own system. That's not true.
But Nate, they can.
White people don't want to. Well, see, that's a different conversation. I said, is it possible?
It is possible.
All right, but that's it. We just need to know if it's possible because in the conversation.
Let me tell you why I say they didn't want to, certain hair. So, Sir Hale, when you talk about building these communities, it's not about your passion anymore. Do you think these 3 generation in kids in the Asian community want to do nails?
No, they don't.
They don't want that. It's not their passion.
They don't want to do it. Yeah,
That's
they don't want to do
but
it.
what they have an obligation to their community. I'm telling you, they have an obligation.
I see it differently, man, because a lot of our kids didn't want to braid hair and cut hair. Well, they had an obligation to the community. And some of those barbershops are standing there because people want to contribute to the community. I hear what you're saying.
But we're talking about the centrals. I'm talking about. I get what you said. I get weak hair. It's certain industries black people never left. I agree with that. But when we talk about the centrals, he started talking about a law firm for black people. He talked about a hospital for black people. He started.
No, I said what I said.
Pause 1 second.
Who's gonna run the grocery store? Who's asking that?
Right. Hold on. Pause. That's the whole point. The point is that no one, white, Asian, Hispanic, is stopping black people from having their own grocery store. We are.
Who want? You're right.
Are we? So the purpose, and this is the second piece. The purpose of having our building, just like I can go out here in Atlanta and buy a lot of land and build my own. I can build duplexes on it. Nothing is stopping me from building a grocery store and getting permits. Right? No one is stopping us from doing that. We don't want to do it. That's a different conversation. I'm asking, is it possible? I'm asking if it's a good idea. Why am I asking that? Because here's the reality. The reality is we complain that the white man doesn't want to give us jobs. The reality is it's not their responsibility to feed us. So the question is, if we build our own supermarket, we build our own plaza, which we have the money to do, we have the knowledge and the resources and the skill to do, right? Because who do I hire to put up my security system? A black-owned business, right? Who does security cameras? A black-owned business who does trucking and transportation to bring in the groceries. A black-owned business, right? Who's in charge of selling these foods and these products. We complain about the food. We're eating the white man's food. We have people who have products on the shelves that are black-owned. They can't get in the grocery stores. But if we have our own stores, we can supply and provide a place for them to do it. All I'm saying is, who are the employees to run these business, to actually operate in these businesses? You can hire within the community. I'm saying there's a way.
But Nate, the problem is the grocery. I know this familiar. I'm familiar with this. You know the profit for grocery stores?
No.
Less than 1%. That means that family have to agree to live in poverty for the next 2 generations.
Well, the reality is this, and I don't know the facts, and I'm asking you because I'm not that familiar with business. I'm in the baby stages, so I'm asking you. What I'm tasking everybody, what's the reality? There's two end results for the black community. We either keep doing what we're doing and we're doomed, or we step out and do something different. We step out and do something that was done already in the 60s. The reality is we can't afford not to do anything. And if we're going to complain about it, we can't, again, I say this all the time, you can't complain about other ethnic groups in this country and then beg them to fix your problems.
But Nate, the white people are not our problem. The Asian people are not our problem. Go to Martin Luther King of every.
I agree. You don't have to ask me that because I agree with you 100%. I agree.
Put a grocery store in the black neighborhood.
Let me say something.
You're not. The problem is. Hold on 1 second, Sir Hale. The problem is.
I will wait a few seconds. Let me
give me 5 seconds. 5 seconds, Sir Hale. 5 seconds, brother. 5 seconds. Emmanuel, what you're saying is correct. I know that they're not the problem. There are people in our community that believe they are the problem. That's the issue. And by thinking that, we end up circumventing around the fact that it's accountability. That's our main issue. Because just like you just said, we can do these things. We can do them. We have the ability to create it, but we don't want to do it. That came out of your mouth.
Yeah, you're right.
We don't want to do it. That has nothing to do. And Sir Hale, that's my 5 seconds.
Go ahead, Sir Hale.
Yes, so that's exactly what I was about to say.
When Sir Hale finishes, then we'll get Genesis in and Candid in, then we'll go back over to Jedi and then back up to Tommy B. And K-Soul, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we got to get out of this mindset of like we got these old talking points.
Correct.
And this is personal for me because as somebody who's worked hard to come up, we have to fight these stigmas because we keep on perpetuating this. Black people don't want to do this. Black people don't want to do this. Black people. We got to get over that, guys. Black people do want to do stuff. Now, what?
Not as a whole.
No, E-Man.
You talking from an individual
E-Man, I was
point
patient.
of view.
I was patient, man.
Yeah, let him cook. Let him cook.
I was patient.
Don't overtalk
right? Yeah, so right. I got to show them what I'm trying to say in my voice. The point that I'm making is that right in any culture, you're gonna have people who don't want to. I think more now of us, of our Black people, this is why, whether we're doing great in business or not, I look at that and say we may not be doing great collectively as business, but there's a reason why we feel the need to start. There's a reason why entrepreneurship is on the incline. Why we're focusing more on education. Why more of us are entering into STEM fields. You know what I mean? More of us are becoming millionaires. So we're on the right track. So let's destroy the narrative that Black people, we don't want to. Yes, we do. And we got to switch. We got to switch it now. More of us want to do it than those who don't. It's time for us to give the negative people who don't want stuff all the shine and then blanketing us with that. A lot of us do. We got 10 people on here who are talking about business. At nighttime. At nighttime. Come on, let's use this.
But Sir Hell, I'm not saying that Black people don't want to do business. They don't want to do the essential business and risk their life for the next generation. I want to be specific. Yeah.
How many people have you talked to and asked that question?
A lot.
How many?
A lot. Like
I've talked to a lot as well, and many are.
Thank you.
So you saying that you know people who say, "Hey, I'm willing to start a grocery store." Like you got
yes,
and they're willing not to make profits.
It's not they're not agreeing to not make profits. They want to start the store.
Yes.
Right. I know people. Yes, that's what I'm saying. We got to change. I grew up. Most of the people in my life are entrepreneurs, barbers, people who own nail salons, people who own short markets, people who have liquor stores. I'm telling you, people who sell T-shirts, you name it. I know people who do it. Our people are, you know what? It's not even the white media that's giving us a bad name. It's the old talking points we keep giving ourselves. And I want us to stop that. I really, the reason I'm harping on this so much is because I don't want my son to hear these talking points and take that on and him think that this is what Black people are. I want him to hear about people who have businesses that they started, people who became nurses, people who spent their time to become entrepreneurs and doctors and lawyers and great entertainers who own the actual companies. That's what we got to start changing this narrative, guys, because it's like we talked about marketing earlier. We keep marketing our self-concept to each other, and it's a negative self-concept. We got to stop that internal marketing, that negative internal marketing first. And then we can work on the other stuff as well. Black people are on the up. We're moving into the middle class. There are more millionaires. We're doing better. We look better. We're more educated. We are on the up. If we're going to call ourselves king and queens, let's start having talking points for kings and queens, and not for what we used to be and what we saw on BET years ago.
We're not peasants, we are royalty.
New talking points in 2022. That's what I'm giving everybody.
And you know what, Sir Harold? Let me piggyback on what you said. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Killer Mike documentary on Netflix.
Yes.
Killer Mike went into his neighborhood and he said for 24 hours, I'm not buying anything but Black owned. So what I ride in, what I eat, what I do on a daily basis, nothing but Black. And he damn near starved to death.
There was a hashtag on Instagram on that, Blackout Tuesday.
Yeah, there was nothing. He was looking for a Black hotel. He had to sleep on a damn park bench in the park. He was looking for something to eat. He's like, man, I'm so hungry, bro, but I'm gonna stick to this 24 hours. He couldn't find a Black-owned restaurant.
What is it called? What is it called?
What is it? I'm gonna look it up for you real quick.
No. To be fair, Black Man, it wasn't the Black restaurant. It was that the food. The food had to also come from Black-owned places.
There you go.
And he couldn't find that. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's what I'm talking about. And that's exactly.
The Black person build that bench he slept on.
Stupid Tony. Listen, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. And where is he at? He's where I'm at, you guys. He's in the Black Mecca. Where this is Black excellent out here, but it's Black independent excellence. So when we're talking about collective, can we? And Sir Hell Speaks is absolutely correct. And this is why I said, hey, I have a vision, you guys. Like Martin Luther King, I have a dream, right? That in one day in our communities, we'll have a plaza that we can actually use. We can hire our own people. Now, granted, like I said, the Hispanics do it, you guys. The Hispanics, the Asians do it. No one is checking for them. We go over there and we'll patron their business all day. But in reality, they have plazas, and I see it all the time. Acupuncture, chiropractor, law office. What's the thing where they be singing and stuff? They got that going on. Karaoke. They have a giant plaza and they have their own banks. And we have our own banks, you guys, but we barely use them.
But Nate, I'm gonna say this last thing. I want, well, not my last thing, but I want to say this. I have to I want to make this clear. I must align myself with people with good character. I'm not going to align myself with people just because the color of their skin.
True, that goes without saying.
Yeah, no one's disagreeing with that.
So what I'm saying is that if you got good character, I don't care if you black, you white, you Puerto Rican, I'm supporting your business. I'm not going to just I'm not going to separate people just because of the color of their skin. I think we've been fighting forever for that, and we can't just say we're going to go only black. No, we support everybody business, and that's just what I feel.
I know, I respect that 100%. But here's my thing. We can support everybody else's business when we get our own shit together. How about that, right?
So what I'm trying to figure out here is what's first? Is it what's first? Is it that capitalism and making that money is first, or is it the social aspect that's first? And this is just a question because it seems like we're talking about the fact that we need to be a community and the fact that we need capitalism. I'm trying to figure out what's supposed to be first here in order for us to move forward.
You're right. Those are two separate conversations.
It's both.
What it is.
We'll have Genesis. We'll have Genesis ask her question next. So go ahead after you, Nathan.
What Emmanuel is saying is, I mean, it's right. At the end of the day, we don't exclude anybody from a capitalism standpoint. We're here to make money. But what is the problem? When you go into a nail shop to get your nails done, sisters, who 90% of them are what? They're black. The customers are black. What businesses that you own where Asian people are coming to your business and giving you money?
Oh shit.
This is the problem. Right? This is the problem. What black grocery store do you have where white people are coming in there to buy your groceries? This is the problem. So stop acting like we don't know the problem, right?
Man.
But everybody's putting my business.
Hold on one second.
He just coached you. There's nothing else.
If you open up a dry cleaning business, if you open up a dry cleaning business, I want you to count how many white people, Asian, Hispanic, go in there and patron your business. So this is the problem. So stop acting like you guys don't know what the problem is. Those Asian people work and they open their business in our community and they drive 45 minutes back to their home. So stop playing. Stop playing. This is the bigger picture. What Emmanuel is saying, he's speaking from a business standpoint. We heard him earlier. He said Jay-Z was right. He's making business deals. That's how it's supposed to work. This is true. We're not talking about that. We're talking about building group economics. This is what we're talking about. Once we build up our group economics, then we can play with everybody else, you guys. But until then, we need to play amongst each other. We cannot do that. We don't do it well.
But Nate,
you're wrong. Well. We don't do it at all.
All black people that's working in excellent, all races are supporting their business.
And that's
the
fine.
Ones I see. So if you're in excellent, they will. That goes against your whole argument. The white people gonna come in and support your business. The black people, that's what I'm saying. Is excellent is the problem. It's not about they're not supporting. They just don't want second level type service.
Okay, that's fine. The problem is white people aren't leaving. They're not leaving their high established communities to come down to the hood to support your business.
Well,
this is what I'm saying.
Open up a business in their community.
Okay, absolutely. And what are you going to open? A chicken wing shop?
Right.
You're going to open an eyelash store? Are you going to because they have Sally Beauty?
No, both are true. Both are true in this case. I agree with both.
But we're talking about, but see, you guys are moving the goalposts. The reality is we don't own nothing. We don't own anything.
You don't own land.
I own.
But we're not talking about you. Emmanuel, we ain't talking about you.
They said words are powerful, Nate. Nate, you don't speak to someone these people.
Okay, you're right. Okay, let me break it down. Unfortunately, there's a segment because I got to break it down. Unfortunately, you guys, there's a segment of our community, right? It's not all of us. There's a segment of our community that's not doing so well. They would benefit if we would all come together and work together and practice group economics, right? Unfortunately, there's individual black people who are doing extremely well. Sir Hell speaks. Some of us are migrating all the way past the middle class and upper middle class. Bless their heart. The reality is collectively, we're not doing well. We're not playing on the same team, you guys. We're playing as individuals. This is why we can't pull our votes together and get real reform. This is why we have issues and complain about the police, because collectively we have no power. We can't buy politicians like everybody else. We can't play the game properly. So again, yes, there's some of us that are doing really well. As a group, we're doing horrible as a team.
I'm gonna let Genesis ask her
Genesis,
question.
go ahead, Genesis.
Go ahead, Genesis.
I don't have a question. I mean, it's kind of, we're going back and forth, you know, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? What I can say, or what I wanted to say, is that we can talk about this all day, but we've got to get back to educating, because we can practice group economics and we can build these businesses in our community. But if we don't educate the communities that we would be serving, then some of those members of those communities will come, they'll pillage the business. If we employ those people in, they'll sell your product out the back door. We've got to get back to the point of educating. It's easy for us to sit here and talk about this because we know better. But for those who don't know any better and are ignorant of their alternatives, we've got to educate them. And all of us here have a platform that we could be using. If we're going to talk about it, then we've got to be part of the solution.
I'm on every morning, 6:45 a.m.
I know that you're doing your part. I'm saying, for me, as you know, I haven't, you know, my little almost 5,000 Facebook friends, you know, I can talk to them all day till I'm blue in the face. However, I know that me personally, I'm going to make a commitment once I'm doing my YouTube thing full time to dedicate some sort of time towards educating, whether, you know, and we always think of it's too big. Like, you know, all of us, your purpose isn't always to the masses. You may just need to reach one. It's as simple as each one reaching one. Or, you know, just like when we're trying to get viewers and increase our subscribers, you know, tell somebody to tell a friend to tell a friend. Well, let's employ that same tactic when we're trying to educate the communities that we want to grow.
And I want also, hold on, E-Man. So before you do that, I've spoken with Nathan and I've spoken with Jedi, because we were
getting the email situated. Don't worry about it.
And so Nathan, you'll be getting that email from him. So on next Tuesday, we're going to do something a little different with the show, Sir Hill. I'm going to get you the information as well.
Yes,
in case and others.
And so, I'm sorry, Black Man, go ahead.
No. And so we're going to be on January the 25th. We're going to have an entire show on restoring the Black community and correcting the culture. We're going to dedicate the entire show to that, because they were asking for some time to get it together. How do we bring this thing together, right? And so we're going to have all these great minds like Sir Hill and Nathan Daly and Jedi Mike and so on and so forth to come in, and we're going to put these things together to see what that looks like.
We need.
I just want to finish because Nate said something really important earlier. Nate said
before we do that,
hold on.
Before I came real quickly. Yeah, so to that point with Genesis, I absolutely agree. But this is why I said we got to stop saying Black people ain't Black. We're not. Every morning I'm up at 6:45 a.m. on my show. If you guys have tuned into my show, y'all know we have a good time, but we talk about some real deep stuff. Tomorrow I'm talking about money because it is going to be called The Best Dressed Broke, because in our community we dress up but we're broke.
Yep.
Friday I'm gonna have my wife on and a couple of others talking about crypto. Thursday I'm gonna do something about relationships and marriage. I got another panel coming up. Guys, we are doing the work. We just got to change the narrative about Black people got to do and we ain't trying to do. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We know we can make money on YouTube. We're trying to get our subscribers up because we're trying to make money so we can fund ourselves to continue doing the good work. So let's celebrate the progress we're making, and let's stop looking at because we're not doing it this way, we're not being effective. We got to get out of the mindset.
So I partly agree with you there. Like, you know, you're up every morning at 7:45 and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, like Miss Genesis spoke about, or even TLA he spoke about, if you make a video talking about crypto, talking about anything that benefits us, financial information, very few people are watching. Few people are watching. However, if you make a video about Tasha K or talk about the Fresh and Fit or Kevin Samuels and Black relationships and all the crazy stuff, that gets a lot of views. However,
what we just did.
Hold on a second. That's what I'm doing.
We're presenting a problem.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm making a comparison.
Hold on, let her finish. She's making a great point.
right?
Well,
So what I'm trying to say is, while I'm subscribed to almost every single one of you, and I love the fact that you guys come on and talk about these things. I myself, if you look back 10 years ago, I've made videos
She
talking
has.
about saving
That's
your
true.
money.
That is true.
Even
Yeah,
though
I'm sorry.
I'm new to this, 10 years ago, you can look up my name. I've made videos about saving money, about how to save money, about how to become a nurse, about all these different things. And I'm telling you, hardly anybody is interested in that information. They're just not interested. Now, I love the idea of each one teach one, but where are we going to get? We have to like get on a bigger macro level, as I guess B9 would say. We got to think about the macro level, and we got to work on edutaining. Like TLA always says, use that Trojan horse to put that message in there, and we might have to play the game a little bit. We got to stop. This is chess, as you guys claim, right? We got to put that Trojan horse in there, and I'm all about like educating and sharing what I know. I 100% agree with that. But the fact of the matter is, ain't nobody tuning into YouTube to find out how to save money. Like, I'm not saying nobody. I'm just saying in general, people just don't. In general, why?
I do want to say this. The guy that I literally followed to learn stocks from is a black man. They call him Uncle Larry. 500,000 subscribers. Literally, his subscribers shot up during the pandemic. So I heard TLA say that, and I get that. I don't know if it's depending on the person that's saying it or how you deliver the message or something like that. But that I've heard that before, and I know multiple. Even a young black dude, Keenan Grace, also talks all stocks and crypto.
That's true. Yeah,
I think he's over 500,000. You know, so
in general, when you're talking, let's not talk about these outliers. In general, what I'm saying in general is that when you take a look at all the YouTubers that talk about these salacious topics and how many people are subscribed to them compared to the people that talk about educational things, and the amount, if we take a look at that, it's highly skewed in the entertainment aspect. And so therefore, I'm not saying that like we should not like educate people. I'm just saying that we have to play chess or checkers or whatever the damn thing is called, and work on implementing some entertainment and educating at the same time, because I've tried it and people, for the most part, I'm not saying everybody, for the most part, just aren't interested.
But can we stop giving Pookie and Ray Ray's excuses on why they're not winning? Because we keep trying to save them. And the one thing Nate said earlier was he said, I taught myself on YouTube how to do stocks. Like, it's all the information is there. And I personally believe that black people keep saying, hey, we trying to go back. But we need to run so we can catch up. Like
Ray Rays are winning. Pookies and Ray Rays are winning too. We have to give them credit where credit is due. When we're talking about stocks, when we're talking about Wall Street Trapper taught himself the stock market while he was incarcerated.
But he's
what's winning, ma'am? How you define what's winning for Pookie?
That's another guy that talks finance.
We have to, because someone may have made a poor choice. Someone may have made a poor choice in their youth that haunted them, doesn't exclude them from the game. When they're more mature,
that's not what I'm saying. What I was saying was that, hey, the information on YouTube that is there. Like I said, I don't watch Sir Hale's show in the morning. It is there for you to win. We got to get to a point where we stop reaching back and we start running forward. That's all I'm saying. We got it. For us to be able to do the things that everybody's talking about on this panel, eventually we can't save everybody. That's all I'm saying. We got to run forward.
And that's why I always say, why don't we focus on the people that. And that's always my point. But hold on, E. But that's my point when y'all talk about these people that are in these situations. And I tell you, that's an economic problem. It ain't a black problem. It ain't the divide or nothing like that. We're not special. That's economics. Broke people make poor decisions with their money. Not black people, broke people.
But why are they broke? They're ignorant of their alternatives. So who's going to teach them?
Tomorrow's morning show is going to be about that. Just so you guys know.
I would say this. Were you about to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to say real quick because I get what everybody is saying. And I understand what Candid Ann was saying as well. Jay-Z was a Pookie. Right. Yeah. So I get what everyone is saying. I think that one of the things that we tend to forget is that in order for people to have this certain mentality, is for you to reach the youth first. So if we're going to talk about this, we got to have opportunities for them in the first place.
Yes.
So I mean, when I was younger, I went to after school programs, and there was a couple of Pookies in the programs, and some of them, when they grew up, they didn't continue some of the same stuff because that program gave them an alternative. And some of them don't know that the alternative exists because nobody grabbed them when they were the most impressionable. So trying to ask a whole bunch of adults to come to our channel to learn some stuff when they never looked for it in the first place is kind of naive. We need to reach the youth because that's the only time they're really going to pay attention.
All
right, and that leads me into
that leads ahead of our generation though, and even to kind of push back again on Ken and Am's point, it's literally turned into an industry of these scammers teaching people about money, and they get so many subscribers that they're actually getting a bag off of giving out bad information. Remember, who's that? Bandman Kevo, I think, gave out some bozo ass advice. What's the other dude, the big dude? Him 500 gave out some bozo ass advice. Like, they have, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of followers of people literally trying to find this finance stuff out. So, like I said, I don't know if you got to have a certain charisma. These guys, their claim to fame to it is they go buy Lamborghinis, they go buy the chains and stuff. They essentially dress like rappers and stuff. So maybe that's the entertainment part that you guys are talking about. But they talk finance, and some of them are, scammers, and some of them, but my point is they gain a following speaking on finance. So I think this generation, and maybe 10 years ago it probably was different, but I think this generation literally has a serious interest in finance, because a lot of these channels that I see talking about stocks and cryptos, they have, if you know what you're talking about, they have a huge, they have a whole, what do they call that sector in YouTube? The financial sector in YouTube, where so I think that narrative is changing as far as like now TLA is talking about, court stuff. And I think that's, it's just boring,
No, he talks about more than that.
Yeah, he talks more about more than that. Yeah.
No, I know he does now. I'm talking about what he was talking about when he was only talking about child support and this, that, and the other. He wasn't getting the views. And then when he started talking about the celebrities, that's when his views went up. What I'm saying is, as far as the financial part, it's a lot of people tuning in, because I'm just like you. I learned how to do the stocks off of YouTube myself. I went straight to trading stocks for beginners, like straight up. And I was driving my truck and have it playing in my truck. And I learned all the way up to doing options and all of that stuff, literally just straight off of YouTube, taking notes and stuff like I was in school. But it's a lot. I'm part of like 2 or 3 Discords where it's just nothing about people just talking about stocks and stuff. And I'm talking thousands. So I think that narrative is changing as far as like people trying to learn about finances and stuff.
Do y'all know what Pookie and Ray Ray mean? Because y'all keep comparing successful people to Pookie and Ray Ray. So Pookie and Ray Ray is the person who don't want to be successful and never will be successful. They have no desire to.
I'm tired of those terms, honestly. Yeah, I'm tired of those terms.
Let me say this, because I want to touch on what Genesis said, because she's the beginning. So this is y'all are silly. This is what's interesting, right? She said that she had 5,000 followers on Facebook. So then again, what Emmanuel talked about is that we can't bring everybody with us. This is the truth. Someone told me that a long time ago when I was mentoring some young Black boys in the community, and said, you can't bring them all. Some are gonna have to be left behind. You have to be okay with that. I think that this is where the discussion that Black Man Unfiltered is talking about, that the reality is we need to bring our best and our brightest together of this generation, right? Those who are skilled and gifted in their respected profession, not your opinions, right? Because my profession is law enforcement. Let me speak. I can talk about some stuff, but when it comes to making give you some insight, let me stay over here and stay in my lane, right? We need to start collectively, because this is my idea. This is the bigger picture. This country has a cabinet, and the cabinet is about 13? I think there's 13 cabinet members, and each one of those cabinets represents a particular area and issue in this country, right? You have the cabinet for education, cabinet for agriculture, and so forth and so on. the Black community, right? And I know you guys understand what you're saying, that we can't isolate other ethnicities and things like that, you guys, but we have a very specific, unique problem in our community that has to be addressed. We have to build this thing from the root, right? Because we know a tree without roots can't stand. And so we have to go to the core issue. And this is what she was just saying. She said the core. What's the core? The children. She said the teens. No, I'm saying the kids, from as soon as they come out the canal, they need to be integrated, right? We need to really, really indoctrinate them into a new thing. We have to redefine what it means to be Black in America. We need an actual definite, we need a defined culture. We need to define a culture. What does it really mean to be Black? What are the values? What are the morals? How do we treat one another? How do we practice economics amongst each other? When we talk about education, it has to be from the root, you guys. Some of us are too old, we're too stubborn, right? We can't teach each other anything. Some of us are too far and too gone. You know, the reality is, yes, we are coming along, we're making a difference. But what we need to do is bring leaders. We need leaders in their respective fields to come together and put a solid plan, with or without the detractors. You can't bring everybody along, so we understand that. I think it's up to us who understand that to say, how can we build this, build it generation by generation, put a plan together and actually execute it. And here's the thing too, Black Man Unfiltered, I wanted to say something to you real quick, because I know we're doing this thing coming up. I hope, and I'm asking you, to those who will participate in this discussion, I'm asking that you please ensure that everybody cams up, right? And I say that to no disrespect to anybody, but at the end of the day, we are all putting ourselves out here. We're all risking, right? We all have jobs. We all have love. We all have important things to do. Some people think their life is better than others, where they can't show their face, right? Some people have a lot to say behind the avatar, behind images and things like that. I can't debate with an avatar. You know, put your face where your mouth is. If you have a lot to say about the Black community, show your skin color. I need to see the level of your melanin, the content of your melanin. I need to see it. I need to see it.
No, but that distracts you, right?
Because some people are out of line. Some people are out of line.
I understand where that's coming from.
And for your channel, Black Man Unfiltered, as your channel grows, it's imperative. It's imperative that you know the people you're talking to, right? And so again, what Tommy said earlier is that there have been people on social media and on YouTube who are giving out bad information to our communities. Listen, you guys, the problem is some of the most educated people in our community, old and young, are being ignored because they're not sensationalized. We have a thing about our community where we need people to be sensationalized. We have to show them they got a lot of money for them to be listened to. And that's a problem. You know, that's part of the brainwashing that's hurting our community. This is why we get scammed all the time. You know, real estate funds, right? And things like that happen, and people are taking up all your money and they can't account for it. And then you find out the person never sold any real estate a day in their life, right? So again, we need to be able to vet these people properly who we're claiming we're going to lead and take advice from. We need to do our due diligence as a community. And those who want to speak on our behalf, they need to be vetted. They need to be vetted. And we have to stop giving our dollars and our intentions to people who basically come off as entertainers, you know, because that's the issue. Because there's a lot of bright people who come before us who've already examined the problem. They know what the issues are. And it's fallen on deaf ears because they weren't these sensationalized people that we see in the media. You know, so I will say that moving forward, Black Man Unfiltered, you know, I'm excited about having the conversation. It's imperative that we start linking up with people who are like-minded, those who have certain skill sets and can contribute. You know, we have Emmanuel here to talk about business. He can actually give us insight on business. And what he said is correct. The only pushback I have is that we can't compete with other ethnicities until we first learn to compete with, I won't say compete, until we learn to actually cooperate with one another properly. And that's just the reality. There's no way around it. We have to build ourselves up first as a community and then start outsourcing and helping out. The issue isn't the fact that we support other ethnicities. The issue is we don't support our own for whatever the reason is.
Let me say this real quick, if I can.
Right.
So the other night I had an opportunity. I think it was me and Uncle Stu, and I'm trying to remember who else was on that panel. It was real late. I think it was I'm trying to remember. But anyway, so we was on the platform because I probably did 2 or 3 that day. I don't remember. But we was on the platform and TLA popped up out of nowhere. And he was telling everybody congratulations to this person, to this person, to this person. You know, he's speaking to everybody, you know, and I'm gonna go chop the clip up. I'm gonna share it on my platform so you guys can see it.
Please do.
He specifically said to me directly, he said, Black Man Unfiltered. He said, I'm gonna shout you out because I want to help your channel. Because you know, he said, how's your channel doing? Where's your numbers? And I told him what my numbers were. I said, man, I'm trying to get to 500. That's my goal. He said, well, I'm gonna shout you out, man. Shout out to Black Man Unfiltered. You know, he said, but you know what? The other day I had a show with Kevin Samuels, and Kevin Samuels told me that that I should not even be nice to people like you. Yes, there you go, Friendsgiving. There we go. We was on Gaston's World. There you go. Shout out to Gaston's World. We were on Gaston's World, and so and he's like, Kevin said I shouldn't even be speaking to you.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because you could be somebody that can destroy me.
True.
Wow.
It's true.
And he said, so I want to speak to he said, Kevin said, as you get bigger in YouTube, and I just had to take a step back and think about what he was saying, because I was like, what? You know, he was like, Kevin told him that as you get bigger, you need to be less accessible.
True.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And then so he was
Well,
like,
on the Peace Network.
right. He said, so I'm giving this information to you and I'm trying to help you. But if Kevin was here right now, Kevin would say, I'm a sucker and I'm stupid for trying to help you. He said, but I'm going to help you anyway because that's who I am. Right. And so I was like, oh, wow. So he's like, everybody, he said, if you look at Lapeef, he said, look, that thing happened to Lapeef for a reason. It's to not only to teach him, but to teach everybody else from their mistakes. He said, when people come into your platform, into your atmosphere, and you don't know them and they're not camming up, he said they can destroy your page in 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Happened with Kaya.
Yes. And yes.
Wait a second. Hold on. I'm just. Are we agreeing that Kevin was right?
Yes.
We're agreeing that he's right, but you don't necessarily have to take that advice.
Right.
You don't, essentially, what Kevin was saying is you have to be cautious when you get so big.
Exactly.
One mistake and it can tear everything down.
So here, what
harsh.
And just because
here's what I do.
Harsh,
Here's what I do.
Hold on,
here's what I do, guys. Here's what I do. See, what we do is we operate in one dimensional. Like if I got Genesis was on my platform, you know, she was on my platform. I didn't meet her on YouTube and then say, hey, come on, Genesis. Actually talk to her in real life. I know who she is.
Right.
Like what we have to do, we're gonna bring people on our platform, because I understand when you're in corporate, there's certain. I'm just sorry. Yeah. When you're in corporate, you got mouths to feed. You got to protect yourself from certain. Yeah. That's just what it is. And people not camming up doesn't mean that they don't want to show their face. When you are part of a company, you don't just represent you represent a brand, and we got to be careful with that. So the way you circumvent that is let's go out to dinner, guys. Let's meet up. Let's have a Zoom call, and that will I get to know your personality, so that when you come up, then when I put you on the platform and you're not camming up, I can tell my audience, hey, I know that they're not cammed up, but I know this person. We actually talk. This is a real person, right? So what I don't want it to do is jeopardize our earning the way that we earn, because I got to prove that I'm black. I don't want us to fall into that trap.
Yeah, let me get behind that, because it's not always. Unfortunately, the problem is what you're referring to, though, Sir Hale Speaks, is a controlled variable. We're talking about the variables that can't be controlled. We're talking about people who they speak very heavily on Black issues and no one knows what they look like. We're talking about people who feel more comfortable putting things out of their mouth because they know they can't be seen, right? They're better off behind the keyboard typing in the chat section. So this is the issue. It's not the people that we know, it's the ones we don't know, and the ones that actually say they can't cam up because of their job or the responsibility they have, or they don't want people to know what they look like. Well, then shut your mouth. If you can't put your face where your mouth is, then you need to keep it closed. It's not about identifying who's Black or who's white, but unfortunately, we have some people here who are very disrespectful on YouTube.
I understand what you're saying. I understand, but I think it's got to go deeper than that. When we have these kind of conversations, we need to have a degree of, I know you off of YouTube. I think that because YouTube is popular, we have all of our conversations here. We need to have some conversations off of YouTube and prepare to come to YouTube with it. That's what I'm saying. I
understand. You know, and I would say, to add to that, there are some people who are a little bit too confident if their face isn't shown. And I think what ends up happening is when you're face to face having a debate with someone, you're more disciplined with your mouth. Your tongue seems to be a little bit more respectful when your face is shown. And I'm just saying, because some of these conversations can get a little bit heated, I think it's appropriate that people, if you want to talk about the subject matter, if you have a voice on the subject matter, then out of all due respect, because everyone else is cammed up, I believe it's only appropriate that we all follow suit.
Okay, I agree with you there, but I'm going to agree with you because I am cammed up a good majority of the time. But I can just say that if you guys don't know, I'm a registered nurse, and I don't speak about healthcare things or registered nursing things or whatever, simply because if I had to really come on here and tell you about what's going on, I
You
can't
lose your
cam
job.
up. I would lose my job.
Exactly.
And so there is a space for people that don't want to cam up, that really do want to tell you how it really, really is. So I don't want to lose sight, even though I 100% agree about the disrespect. I don't want to lose sight on people that really want to give, but because they need to feed their family, because they have a business, because there's a lot to lose, and they don't cam up for that reason, let's not lose sight that we have some of those people out there. As long as we know them, as long as we are comfortable and we know that they come with a level of integrity,
yes,
oftentimes, because like I said, I don't talk about nursing because if I really came on here and told you about it, I would lose my job.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so what do you have, man?
Black Man, can I respond to Security Boss? She made that comment about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. Let me get K-Soul in here, then you can go right up to K-Soul.
Okay.
K-Soul, go ahead, brother.
I mean, I really don't have anything specific to say. I did, but I forgot what I was going to say to some other people's points. But
shout out, K-Soul. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah, man, it was a really good conversation, and a lot of good things were said. I just think, the most recent thing that I would just push back on a little bit, and this is just my opinion, I do think we need to compete. And I do think that we need to not only compete, but I do think that we need to not only look to attract and operate within our community. I think we need to operate outside. A lot of the examples that we gave of how other communities have done better were off the backs of other communities, and we're the only community trying to isolate the way that we kind of build things up. And I don't think it's going to work that way. It sounds good. But I think in reality, I think we do need to compete with other people. And then even when Emmanuel said, he had made a point that got, to me, a crazy reaction. He said, let's, take a business and you can put it in, a different community. And everybody was just like, no. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, that's what other businesses do. And they're not afraid to come into our communities. They're not afraid to hire us to work for them, and we shouldn't be afraid to do the same. We are the smaller portion of the population in the U.S. So I think it only benefits us to learn how to work with other people.
True.
So,
one thing, I want to, I know that was kind of directed in this way. K-Soul, you're absolutely correct. I would say though, my concern though, from my understanding of economics, and you guys, I've worked these communities for years, so I see the problem. My only issue is that a lot of times, and here's the problem, and we see it with I won't even go there, but all right, this is the problem. We have Black business owners who will say open a business in the Black community, or they'll open a business in other communities, which is completely fine. I don't disagree with that. The issue is not so much that as much as it is staying in the community and then helping the community flourish, right? That means that we're taking our dollars, we're then buying a house outside of that community, right? Into another community that's more wealthy, right? So we're taking our resources and we're leaving. So the question then becomes, the idea that I'm saying is that we have to stay in our communities and build it up. There was a phenomenon that's taking place in Africa and also in India. What's happening, right? They come to the US, they send their best and their brightest to the US to get educated. They become doctors, scientists, nurses. And then what happens? They don't want to go back home. And so the government was like, hey, we need you guys to come back because now you're taking away the resources out of our country. You're not coming back to build it up. You're only supposed to go there to get educated and trained, and you're supposed to come back and add value to our own country. And a lot of them weren't doing that, and it became a big issue. And so the question is, if we become educated, we become successful, we leave our communities. I'm saying, what does it look like if we stay and actually build up?
You get shot.
Possible.
That's what happens.
That's what I was saying. I don't agree with that.
That's
You don't agree with that?
Can I give you guys a real story?
I knew that was coming.
Before my let me start by saying, as a minister, that's the approach we have. Stay and serve your community. Let me tell you what happened though.
What's your ethnicity, Sir Hale? Your nationality?
Nigerian, Ethiopian, Ghanaian.
What's your nationality? I apologize. I meant to say nationality.
Black than the motherfucker.
I'm Wesley Snipesian. What you mean? Like,
Wesley Snipesian.
Hey, that's a new one. Say it again.
He wants to know where were you born. He wants to know where were you born. Are you from another country or were you born here? That's what he's trying to get.
I was born here, my brother. I'm born from Illinois, little company of Mary Hospital. Shout out, Illinois. Yeah, so let me tell you, like, I grew up, that was my mentality. Stay in the community. Let's stay here. Let's build. Let's do this. When you see dead bodies not far from where your kids play, when you see somebody selling drugs, watch this, little girls are introduced to prostitution at 11 and 12 years old, and that's their mentality. I think what we have to stop doing is let's stop saying, let's stay here. Because the truth is, some of us have to leave, go get successful, empower other people, and then we got some resources to bring back. But if you stay trapped, you might not make it out.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So let me correct that. I mean that no, we can't leave. Let me correct. You can't abandon the community.
Why not?
Right? Is that fair to say? So
no,
the
issue, you can.
I mean, okay, so then we abandon those who can't make it. So what you're saying is essentially is
it's not I'll add a little bit more context.
Go ahead.
So when we moved here, live in a big, beautiful place, I felt bad at first because we make each other feel bad when we finally make it out and do well. Or see, you get a little bit of money, you move out, everybody can't do well. You know how hard I had to work. You know how many times. Here's the big thing. You know how many people I tried to help. I tried to pull them. Hey, come on, study with me. Come on, read this book with me. Come on, take this college course with me. Like I'm saying, sometimes we got to quit having this moral connection and chain to a situation that's not good for us. Sometimes we got to leave. Let's get some power, and then when we come back, we can buy the real estate. That's what I'm advocating for.
I agree, but I think we're having two different conversations. What you're saying is I agree with what you're saying. What I'm talking about is community abandonment. We're talking about people who get the power, get the education, get the money, and they never come back to bring resources.
I'm with you, but the reason I'm pushing back is because there's so many people who took that approach and then got killed going back.
Well, what Emmanuel was trying to say,
Nathan, hear me. There are so many people who have your approach and have that heart. They go back and get shot and killed, and then somebody ain't got no daddy now. Somebody ain't got no mama now.
I mean, listen. If you guys are seeing that narrative,
y'all got to stop that narrative, bro.
And you guys just, Sir Hale, you just spoke on not putting the narrative out there,
bro,
Sir Hale.
If you talking about people in politics, that's different. But most dudes that come from the hood that ain't in politics in that hood, you ain't coming back getting shot, bro.
True.
No, I'm saying that it has happened enough, guys. Come on, like let's be for real, guys. I've lived in homes, I've lived in their projects, I've lived around gang. Listen, guys, I know what I'm talking about. Right. And I didn't just live in one state. I lived in 2 different states.
Well, Sir Hale,
I lived in 3 different states.
So, Sir Hale, the problem with that logic, if we all subscribe to that logic, then we're saying we're going to just doom a portion of this community. Is that
leave?
Look at Emmanuel saying
doesn't mean
leave
that you can't
successful, come back.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Come on, guys, listen. Go get some
back. What does reach
why
back?
Do we send why do we send our kids off to school?
Reach back look like? Because I don't live there doesn't mean that I can't go back to help. White people do it all the time. Oh, I shouldn't. Let me not bring in nationality.
No, you're right. You're right. Genesis.
This is unfiltered, baby. Say what you need to say.
Yeah, you're right. Genesis.
They do it a lot of times when we have these allies that are coming in and standing with us when we're protesting. They don't live in those communities that they're helping. So why can't we do the same?
That's a good point.
My thing is this. We have a very unique problem in our community, right? If you guys are saying that we need to be hands off, we're going to let people die where they are. Basically, we're talking eugenics at this point.
That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying.
Well, I want to be clear. I want to be clear. If I'm saying, what does it look like? What does it look like if all of our people are becoming successful, we leave, and you're saying, okay, well, we can bring resources, we can reach back. I'm saying that's what we have been.
I'm not gonna.
So when you got kids,
I'm not gonna
it changes
sacrifice
everything.
my children to prove that I'm loyal to this community.
All right.
And to be fair, Genesis' point is fair. I would have still been in there because it's cheap. My room was $700. I would still been there. I got kids though.
Revolutionaries got to be young because when you get older, you got shit to lose.
Yeah.
And
you know,
I'm totally against that, Nate. I'm straight up.
No, I mean that's okay. That's okay. But I'm saying that what are the solutions? Because you guys remember this has been going on for generations now. And people have been reaching back, and we're still here, and we're having the conversation about Black-owned businesses.
I think we're trying to solve. I think we're trying.
He's on a whole different side of the fence.
I think we're trying to solve
what we're talking about. So that's a whole different side of the fence.
Go ahead, Queso. Go ahead, Queso.
I think we're trying to solve an economic problem when there's a mindset problem. So you can continue to pour money. You can continue to pour money into these places like the hood, and it's not going to help. Matter of fact, you can historically look at other examples of people, and I can't think of one right now, where politicians and certain entities have thrown money at problems and it hasn't helped. And I think the main thing, going back to kind of what Ann was talking about, putting things on YouTube, is changing people's mindsets through knowledge and education and things like that. And I'll say this with the finance thing, and I'm kind of going back to something else. Finance is one of the highest paid, highest growing genres on YouTube. I think people are actually waking up and doing better. But I think that's how you help the community, is you teach, you provide knowledge. I don't think you can solve it with money, is basically what I'm trying to say.
No, education is 100% key, and it all starts within the home, right? So even if we start dialing it all the way back, again, you guys, I'm big on the core problem, right? And I understand how you guys feel. Again, I've worked our communities for 13 years, so I know what you're talking about, the reps of the violence and being uncomfortable around your own people, right? Essentially, what we're saying is, hey, if I get successful and leave, I don't feel comfortable being around people who look like me. It's essentially what you got.
No, that's not it.
You know what you're saying?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. I misunderstood.
He tried it.
I misunderstood. My bad. Hey, I love y'all. But the reality is this: what do we do?
Listen, Nathan, we're on the same team.
I know, bro. I know. So hell, I'm just jiving.
But Nate, I want to be specific. I'm not saying that I'm not willing to invest in Black people. I'm just not willing to invest in the ghetto. See, it's the difference. So, like, so we can invest.
Genesis said why?
Why?
Oh, now you want to ask why, Genesis? You was on your side all night.
I'm asking why he doesn't want to invest in the ghetto.
Because I believe that I shouldn't throw the pearls upon swine. Like if like
now,
hold on. Wait a minute. To E-Man's point, and this is why I always bring it back. If you do the same thing into a fucking trailer park, you're doing the same thing. It's a economical mindset. It's not a race thing. Poor people think poorly. It's just what it is.
I think we're assuming that everybody's there because they want to be there. Right. And that's not the case. Sometimes you in a project because that's a transition. I can say that for my own self. I was there.
But
have you guys lived in a project?
So I don't think anybody wants to be there, but you have to find the people that have the mindset that want to get out of there.
But that's the point that I'm saying. I was in a project and I had the mindset. That's the point I'm making.
How do they get out?
So Sir Hill had a.
That's what I was saying. You guys are throwing me under the bus.
If they're ignorant of the alternatives, how do they get out?
So that's what I was saying. The whole point.
We've got to educate them to the alternatives.
But the thing is, I don't understand. Here in America, education is free. The internet, most people have like on their phone access to information more than we've had access to information in the entire world in our history. And I can tell you that, like, I have literally worked with people that don't know simple things. So I don't understand, like, where, like, the library is free, right? That's always been free. You have your smartphone. You could literally say, hey Siri or hey I don't want to say the words because your phone and your lights might go on, but hey, right? And you can ask it, what is crypto? What is blah blah blah? What, and the information that you could put on he was driving his truck and he found out all this information. So right now the landscape thankfully has changed in terms of access to information, and those that want the information, it's there. It's not
hidden. It's
there. For adults, for the kids who don't know any better,
the kids, they know more about the internet and access to more than we do.
Breeding ignorance. If they're not exposed to anything outside of their community, how are they going to know anything outside?
Let me
I disagree with that. Hold on.
The host is saying something, y'all.
1 second. So Sir Hale had a great question. Real quick, if we could pause and answer that question. He said, how many people on the platform have lived in the projects before?
I've
worked in it. So
I've lived there. So I think this is when we talk about people who have expertise, this will be the time for you guys to listen. Like,
so what I'm saying is, are you talking about the hood or are you talking about the project? It's different. Every hood ain't got projects in them.
I lived in the hood for sure. I lived in the Bronx.
Like California,
I've done both. I didn't live there. Chicago Heights, Gary, Indiana.
Yep.
Listen, I'm telling you, I lived in both. Chicago Heights. You see what I'm saying?
Indiana's crazy. But that's what I'm saying, Sir Hill. So what I'm saying is,
Chicago Heights.
Are you saying the hood or are you saying the project?
That's hood though. I'll give you my address and you can go there. I'll give you my old address and you'll know.
That is good. But
take Hostet, get on 16th Street, 14th Street, Lincoln Highway, make a left on Division. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's hood. That's hood. You know what I'm saying?
It's still not Chicago City hood.
Right.
I've lived in Gary, Indiana. Right. I'm telling you, I've been to a different.
The Cabrini Greens will be the projects, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
projects.
Yeah. Okay.
Then the point that I'm making, the point that I'm making, though, guys. The point that I'm making, though, is that sometimes people find themselves in a place because that's all they can. Economics. This is what they can afford. It's not because that's where they want to be. And the reason I'm saying this now, you talk about somebody again. I didn't go through school. I got a GED. I'm telling you, I know how this feels. Sometimes is people are in a place because this is what life happened. Life happened to them and they're trying to do the best that they can. And sometimes we lose hope in that situation because we're trying to get out. I almost lost hope. Like, I don't tell people this enough, and maybe I should. Like, I'm successful in my life now. I almost lost hope because when you're trying to overcome, you don't have enough education. I'm a dark-skinned Black dude who don't got stuff, so I already got a stigma. Now I got a wife and 4 kids and I'm not successful. You lose hope in this. And part of the reason why I'm passionate about being on these platforms is because I want to give people the economic knowledge, the information and stuff. But even in this too, the part that we don't talk about is when you're trying to fight to overcome something and you don't feel like you're making progress and you are giving it your best. I'm talking about working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And I'm barely making it from that point. Right. And then not getting any sleep and developing like a sleeping condition to where I can't sleep because I'm worried because I got roaches in my apartments and there's bed bugs there as well. And I'm trying to get my kids out of this. Like, this is the real stuff people are going through. So what I don't want us to do is look at people who are in the projects and say, you know what, they don't want any better. Some of us do, but some of us have lost hope. And I'm blessed that I had people who did not allow me to stay there. So let's not put a blanket over people in the hood because just because they're there doesn't mean that they want it.
Well, I said your comments, E-Man, everybody in the chat went crazy. The whole platform
went crazy. But no, see, that's the problem. I get what you're saying, Black Man. But the problem is that when we get our resources, we got the right to put them wherever we want. Everybody want to control our hard work and what we done did. And so I get it. You can.
Man, you're not wrong. You just got to have a little bit more empathy, bro. You're not wrong.
I get that. That's why I ain't got no YouTube channel, so I can tell the truth.
Because you're not wrong. What you're saying is right.
But the problem is that it's that mentality why we aren't growing.
No, it's not. Right? The problem is the people who lazy and won't get out their butt and work is why they're in the situation. So we always want to blame it on the successful person after they go out and put in the work and say, oh, you didn't put enough of your resources. No, y'all had the same opportunity I had to go out and grind too. Now, kids are totally different. If you ever followed me on YouTube, I have a special place for kids, and that's why I believe that we should have different programs for them. But if you're an adult, I don't care what your struggle. If you know my story, I don't care what your story, what it was. Me growing up in Georgia, we didn't have it. My mother didn't have nothing. I didn't have a job since I was 14 years old. So don't tell me what you cannot do.
No, I agree.
Okay, so for the kid who made a poor choice because of their immaturity, and that poor choice followed them into adulthood, and now they're having problems securing access to education, access to opportunity because of that poor choice that's still haunting them, then are you saying that they don't deserve a chance?
But everybody can go out and get a GED. See that the point. It'd be different if we
circumvent that felony that they may have.
Yeah, so if you went, so hold on, hey man, let me give you perspective here. So if a little boy at 12 or 13 went out and made a horrible decision, went to a store and stole a few things at the store that got him a felony charge, and then now 14, 15, he's studying, 16, he turned his life around because the arrest made him change everything about his mind. He's changing. He want to go to college, and then he goes to get an education, and he goes to get a job, and that. What happened to him at 13 comes up on the app, and that man said, "No, we can't hire you. You got a felony."
You're wrong. The reason I tell y'all guys are wrong is my little brother at 12 years old got a felony for armed robbery, and he working 2 jobs now getting it. I'm telling y'all, we got to stop making excuses for these people.
That's not always the case.
No, I'm telling you.
E-Man, you're not wrong. And I want us to understand, E-Man is not wrong.
Listen. They're not eligible for financial aid unless they come from a family with money. Then they can't afford to pay cash.
But they have grants. Listen, my little brother, when he went back to school, they have a grant out there for felonies. It's felonies that went out and created multi-million-dollar businesses, and they said, "Hey, we're gonna do grants just for these people." But you gotta not be lazy, and you gotta look for it. You gotta be willing to grind. I'm telling you, when he got out of prison, he was willing to work 2 hours. 2 jobs. His first job that he got was at the cow plant. Him killing cows and coming home stinking every day. But he said, "I'm willing to do what it takes until I get a higher level education, and I put this work in." So I don't have no excuse for people, because I done seen people in Georgia, they make this thing happen.
No, I agree. I mean, Emmanuel is correct, right? Let's be clear.
I'd be not.
Life is all about choices, you guys. And you know, I'm gonna speak on it because I'm the one putting handcuffs on these people, right?
Wow.
So let's be real. He's absolutely correct. It's about choices. Where's the breakdown? Where's the actual problem? We're talking to families, right? Because when you start looking about this child and why this child, male or female, made the decisions they made, you start going into these black homes and you start seeing where the issue is. All right. It's not Emmanuel's resources. It's not his responsibility to take care of anybody else, nor the presidents, nor the politicians, right? Nor the celebrities. It's nobody's responsibility to take care of us. What I am saying, though, and I think this is where Emmanuel kind of missed what I was kind of leaning towards, is that if people, black people who are successful, who have a plan, who want to build something and want to contribute, what I'm saying is we need to come together and build something that can have an impact, right? I'm not asking for random individuals. I'm not asking for that. I'm not in here to put on a cape and save people out here committing crimes. I'm absolutely not trying to do that either. All right. What I'm saying is, at some point in time, our community has to sit down and say, what are we going to do about those who are left behind, who didn't have the parents that we had, didn't have the education, didn't have the discipline, right? We know that. We can't carry people who don't want to listen. We can't carry people who don't want to educate themselves. We can't carry people who aren't disciplined. But what we can do is create a healthy environment for the future seeds that haven't been planted yet in our community. That's what I'm saying, you guys. Can we get to the root? The root is education. The root is the dysfunction in families. We need to find a way, because DFACS can't do it. I work with them, all right? They don't even want to do it. These social programs aren't going to do it. You can defund the police all day. It's not going to change anything, because this is a mentality problem in our community, right? This is a perception problem in our community, and perception is reality. What is Emmanuel saying? He's saying, look, I can't do nothing for these guys. Why not? Because this is how they think. They're brainwashed. They've been indoctrinated. They're confused. No amount of money is going to fix the problem. That's why reparations is not going to do anything for our community. Right? So this is the reality is people, we understand what the situation is. We have knowledge. We have foresight. What do? Let's create better soil so when these new seeds are planted, they can grow and be fruitful. That's what I'm saying. Let's focus on a real solution, a proactive solution. We can't do anything for these guys that are out already. They're done. You guys are doomed. It is what it is.
I'm not. I don't believe that.
Then you haven't seen what I've seen.
I don't. I've actually worked in law enforcement as well. So no, can't say that.
Well, listen. I can't sell you a dream. All right, I can't sell you a dream. I'm telling you that the best course of action is to deal with the children. The best course of action is to deal with the children. If you want to come out, if we had limited amount of money to solve the problem, are you telling me you're going to split half of it on people who've been in and out of prison?
I sure am.
That's fine. I would disagree. And everybody on this panel, if you decided to waste half of our resources instead of fixing the newer generation coming out,
I'm just not willing to throw them to the dogs.
No one's throwing them to the dogs. But what did Emmanuel say? Emmanuel said
that they're not worth investing in.
No, I didn't say that. I never said that. I said if we had to solve the problem, am I going to focus on those who've lost their way, or am I going to focus on the new seeds?
I think we're forgetting, if we're talking about this, some of the people in prison are some of the brightest minds out there.
And that's fine. Let them be bright. Let them be bright. They can shine all day. That's not the problem.
Go ahead. He's an entrepreneur. He has an entrepreneur.
Then that's fine.
It's just misdirected.
That's fine. I never said he was a problem. I said, where are we putting our money at? If he's an entrepreneur, God bless his soul. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Wow.
I'm saying that there are a lot of men and women in this country who've made bad choices and they come out of prison and they turn their life completely around.
But Nathan, I hear what you're saying, but there's a lot of people who've done the same thing. They just didn't go to prison. This is what I'm saying. At some point, we have to have a balanced conversation when it comes to this. There were some people who just didn't get caught. There's a lot of people who just didn't get caught, or maybe they did and they didn't do the crime. The point that I'm making is, if we're paying taxes, we're carrying people anyway. Let's just be real about this. Yeah. The point that I'm saying is, if we're going to talk about community, we can't say in one breath we need to come together. Hey, but screw them over there, because what are we talking about?
I don't think that was Nathan's.
That's not what I was talking about.
That's not me or Nathan.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I think Nathan was trying to highlight. Nathan was trying to highlight where you could, the most important area that needs to be focused on. He wasn't saying throw them to the dogs. That's why he presented the example as if you had a limited amount of money. If you had all the money in the world, he's going to say help everybody.
The reason why I don't like this argument is because them kids that we trying to raise got to go home to those parents. We got to pour into the parents as well. We got to come on, guys. We got to think about this, because it sounds good. Just focus on the kids, but them kids got parents, and then parents, if we don't encourage them, they're going to break them kids. So we got to find a way to invest in parents too.
The problem is the core problem. The core issue is the education. It doesn't matter. We can't control the parents. Children can't control the parents, right? So that's not the issue. The issue is, if we just talked about how powerful education is, and now you want to move the goalposts. Education is absolutely key.
But in some of those communities, they're getting subpar education.
See, but that's why we have to control it.
In some of those communities, they're getting subpar education.
That's why we have to control it.
You just said in one instance, it starts at home. I'm saying I agree with you about the home, which means home includes the parents. We got to invest in them as well.
Yes.
How do you? But Sir Hale, I'm telling you.
I want to say something, Genesis, real quick. Genesis, what I'm saying is, y'all can use y'all resources however it is. But since I work hard for these
resources to help those.
But this the thing is, what I say is this right here is, why do everybody try to tell the people who went out and grind for their resources where they should put their resources at?
Like, I went out and grind for mine.
That's what I'm saying.
I could have been just like them.
No, it's okay for you to put your resources towards the people that's coming out of jail. But if I decide that I want to put my resources to all the kids, I should not be judged because it's my resources and it's still going back to the Black community. Why am I getting judged because I choose that I want to do something different for the hard resources that I have put together and I have made? So that's all I'm saying is this right here. Don't judge us.
But you're not getting judged for where you want to put your resources. You're judged because of the way that you said it. You talked about putting pearls among swine. You come, so that's really where the issue is.
Some of those kids that you're willing to invest in,
that's where the pushback is. Not because you want to put your resources in children, or it's because of the way that you said it.
So y'all believe? Hold on. So y'all
to invest in are the offspring of those that are incarcerated, or
so do y'all think that swine? Do y'all think that in the poor and in jail there is no swine?
Listen, we're not gonna get into semantics here. We're trying to have a conversation. So when you spoke, we were talking about putting our resources into a certain community, and when you said something similar to, please correct me because I might not be getting the saying exactly right. You said because you don't want to put pearls in swine, you made a comparison about certain communities being equated to swine. Am I not correct? When you made, because I don't want to put pearls into swine. So it wasn't about you putting your resources among the children. We were just talking about community, and you made that statement, and that's where people are pushing back. But you have the right. Like I 100% agree with you. Like if you make your money, you work hard for yours. No one should tell you what to do with it. You can do whatever you want to do with it, right? But when you made that comparison and you use the word swine, because I want to put my pearls into swine, that's where people have, like in the comments, but the comments went nuts because you use those words.
Let me say this real quick. Hold on, E-Man, real quick. So how do we explain this? E-Man, hold on one second. How do we explain this? So we know LeBron James came from nothing, right? Living in an apartment, no money, kicked out with his mom everywhere, sleeping in the car, whatever the situation. LeBron James went to the league. He's one of the richest basketball players of all time. He just opened up the I-Primary school, right? And I'm just sitting up here looking at it because I want to make sure what I read when he first opened it is still correct. So he allowed the kids to go to this school, but he also have night classes for parents. He also have classes where parents can get their records sealed, and they can go and, they can damn near, he got food cabinets for them to go and get free food out the cabinets. He feed them, he feed the parents, he provide food, he provide shelter if they don't have nowhere to stay. I didn't even know this. I'm looking at the list right now. I'm like, damn. So they can get their GED. They can get their records expunged. They can get food. Their kids can go to the same school they go to, so you don't have to worry about childcare. And then they have job placement for the parents when they get their GED and get their record seal.
Well, no. Well, if we talk about LeBron, first of all, LeBron
tax bracket.
Right. But this is what LeBron did first. LeBron saved the kids first, and then he went and put a plan.
That's not the point.
Yeah. No, it is the point. Listen, he first he created the school.
Man, you were wrong for calling people swine. Let's deal with that first. Then we can move on.
Okay. We've had conversations.
So you don't think you were wrong, E-Man, for saying they were swine?
This is what's weird about this conversation is E-Man doesn't even believe in the community things that everybody
chitlins, man.
Like E-Man wants to help out the way that he wants to help out, which is perfectly fine. But this conversation isn't even for him because that's not the way he wants to help out.
Which is fine. And I think the problem is this. When I made that suggestion about how we can help out, remind you guys, we're talking about people who want to volunteer, right? No one is forcing, I'm big on, if you earn what you earn, you earned it. I'm not anyone. Listen, reparations come across the table. I can't get it anyways either. Someone made a comment about reparations. I just don't believe it's going to do anything because the problem isn't the economics as much as it is the mindset.
Yeah, give me some reparations and see what I do with it. See what I do with it.
You got the mindset. You got the mindset. If you got the mindset, it works for you.
I'll take 40 acres from you right now. You essentially saying that most of the Black community is just going to blow it. That's the mentality of most of the Black community, and I don't agree with that. That most of the Black community just gonna blow like that. That's another stigma put on us. Like we just all gonna go, be on spinners and this. Like, nah, come on, man. Like I done seen way too many people trying to get into stocks, crypto, trying to start business and stuff. But people just keep pushing this narrative that we just gonna go out there and just buy a bunch of J's and shit. Like, Man, go with that.
My thing is you're right. A narrative is one thing, but the proof is in the pudding with our community currently, and this is 2022. The internet has been out for a very long time now. So to piggyback on Emmanuel, you know, he wants to help how he wants to help. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like tithing in a church, but never giving a homeless man any money, right? So Emmanuel, you're good. You don't owe anybody any apology about how you feel about how you want to contribute. My idea was just basically saying that people who want to volunteer their skill and their resources to help put together ideas for the problem. That's what I'm suggesting, right? No one owes anybody anything. So wait, isn't ADOS why is this being annihilated? New growth. I hope you come to this next conversation. You cam up.
Here we go. We just talked about this. We just talked about this.
So moving on to that.
No, they got so Harold. So let me give you some history. So they've had a conversation before.
Is this who you was talking about, Nathan?
Yeah, this is who he was talking about when he said, "I don't even know if you're African American."
Yeah, I'm starting to debate.
I'm rocking with you, Nathan. I'm rocking with you now.
You rocking with me now? So Harold said, "Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm clear. I'm clear." All right. Listen, and it's all respect. It's all respect. It's all respect. You know, we're all here because we're passionate about our people. You know, we have different perspectives. None of us are wrong, you guys. We just have different, we have different perspectives, and that's all it is. You know, I think she said, y'all mindset is incorrect. I gave a breakdown of how people can utilize. Yeah, you know, I mean, the reality is we're not going to get it, you guys, right? We're not going to get it. And if you believe we're going to get it, I mean, we need to be moving as if we're not going to get the money.
Yeah,
I think the reality is we need to be maneuvering like we're not going to get the money, whether it's going to come or not. Look what they did to the indigenous people. So at the end of the day, you guys, we need to move like we're not getting the money. We need, even when we get the money, we didn't move like we never had the money. What is the reality? Again, Sohail said, okay, I double spoke. What did he say? He said, okay, I said it, the key is in the family. Okay, the key is the family. I say we have to invest in the children, education. We have to teach them a better culture. We have to teach them how to interact with one another.
Who's the we that's going to teach?
Who's going to volunteer to teach Black kids?
And who's more influential? Who's more influential? If we fix the kids through education and we send them back to the same broken home that broke them, then we're going to undo everything that's been done.
What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Genesis, you said it earlier. What comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Who's more influential?
I think once you open the mind, it can't re-expand. So if you give them the knowledge and you start educating them on how to run their finances and different things like that, that's
children running finances.
I think you should teach kids finances. That's the problem. We wait till they wait till they're 18. No, listen, we wait till kids get to 18 and then we say, go out there and figure this thing out. What if we groom them throughout life? 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and they master finances by their senior year. So when they go into the adult world, it don't matter how their parents ran their finances. Now they have the knowledge to be able to run finances.
But it does. See, what you're missing in our community is a lot of us kids taking care of our parents some way because they didn't get the education that they need. 100%.
I owe my parents
we gotta, and we have to listen, because our parents didn't get it because they didn't have the internet like we do, right? We got to train them up as well because they want to know it. And I'm telling you now, I've got elders that I'm teaching this stuff now that wish that they had it. Listen, we got to stop treating people just because they're older like they don't matter anymore. We got to stop that because you're gonna get older at some point in your life as well. And I would hate for people to treat you when you get older, like because you old, you don't matter anymore. We got to get away from that. And this is not to say that we shouldn't prioritize our kids, but our kids are products of households, and we should be focused on building better households so that the parents are better and our kids are too.
Yes. So Sohail speaks. Sohail speaks. You're correct. So here's the problem. So now we talk about we have a limited amount of resources to fix the problem. I say we need to educate properly. We need to be in control of what we live in a country where we complain about white people and they're educating our children. What I'm saying is, where do the educators are going to come from? We have educated Black men and women in our communities that need to volunteer to educate our own people, right? So now
parents
you're
are
telling me that
supposed to
the family is also the problem. But we have Black educated people who are counselors, right? Who are DFACS workers. They need to volunteer to come and view these homes and help educate these parents, right? I have worked closely in our community with these households, okay? And I'm telling you right now, the best way to save these kids is to educate them properly in school. So at least when they come home, they have a better understanding of how they should be treated.
The best education starts at home.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yes, it does start at home. But if the home is already broken.
See, this is why the schools are so overrun. And let me tell you, because I know this firsthand. I got 4 kids. The reason why there's so much pressure on the schools, because we are too busy in our own homes to take care of our kids. And we expect when they get to the school, the principals and the teachers, everybody, compensate for what we didn't do. No, if we're going to say it starts with home, let it start with the home.
So then let me ask you, if that's the case,
I'm getting up out of here. I appreciate the conversation tonight.
E-Man, before you leave, I want you to address this before you leave, because I was just about to say it, but I didn't know you were going to leave. Listen to this. He said it's a contradiction in what you said earlier.
No, it's not. The reason that it's not, I read this coming earlier. I talked about why the Asian community is willing to sacrifice. And I said that I don't believe that the Black people are willing to sacrifice the way that the Asian community have sacrificed for 3 generations. So I told it was 2 different communities. And I'm the one who say, y'all know, I believe in character. I don't really care too much about color of your skin. I'm past that. So I'm not willing to try to save a community. I'm trying to my goal is to save as many people with good character. I don't care if you white, polka dot, Asian. My goal is to help you. If you're trying to win and you're willing to put in the work, that's my goal. I'm not going to just help only one person. So that's kind of how that is. But just so I ain't gonna read it to you, but I like what security boss said. She said, "Hey, Matthew 7 and 6. If you read that sentence, that whole area, that Matthew 7 and 6, it talks a little bit more in detail about what I was saying about not casting pearls into swine. I think a lot of people might took it negative because how we view pigs, but the Bible was talking in Pacific about this situation that we're talking about.
You got Sir Hill on it, Sir Hill. Sir,
that's one of my favorite scriptures. We were wrong. We have to stop throwing scriptures out there.
Come on.
I often say this. We got to be really careful. Like the scripture, we need to serve it as food, not like we're having a food fight. And when we have like a food fight and we just throw it out there, it's not well received. So if we're going to bring up that kind of context, we got to say it right in context.
So you think I was wrong when I made that statement in your opinion?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
Sir Hale, because as someone who does not read the Bible, I wouldn't know to reference that.
But let me tell you, the bigger thing is, man, I respect you. You are a man of wisdom and knowledge and stuff, and your words carry weight, and you have the opportunity to help people, or you could use that influence and cut people. I think you're capable of a lot more if you just have a little bit more tact and empathy with what you say. I really believe that.
I would second that.
Yeah.
Out of respect.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. Like I said, I'm not a man to think that I'm perfect, and I feel like it's always areas that I can improve. But just in my mind, how I meant it. If you read the whole verse, it does have value with what we said. Now, should I use that verse?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Should I use that verse? Because some people don't know the context of the whole verse. That might be something different. But it wasn't that I was wrong. I might just
pigs. When you put those two in the same message, it's just not going to be well received.
Right. It came out wrong. It came out wrong, dude. That's just
Go ahead, take accountability, Black man. Take accountability.
I know. No, I took it. I don't. To this day, I stand that it wasn't wrong how I did it, but I do need to work on empathy. That's something my wife say. She say empathy and sympathy is something that is my biggest weakness, because it's just y'all got to understand how I grew up. It's just one of those things that if I can make it, I don't give nobody excuses. I refuse to give.
Yeah, but see, I spoke about.
We'll talk about that one day. I love to find out more about your story, because I feel like oftentimes we think that just because we made it, everyone else can, but everyone is not as strong as you. Everyone might not have that same support system as you. Everyone doesn't have that same story as you. So you got to realize that, I'm happy that you made it. but like
Man,
keep
I
in
really
mind that
believe
everyone is not you.
I believe everybody can make it if they use the same success principles. Success
But
principles.
Emmanuel, what you have to understand is everybody's not you. I had to understand it myself.
Same.
Obama came from
Me
certain
too. Me too.
situations. Guess what?
Me
8
too.
out of 10 people in his situation, 9.9 out of 10 people in his situation ain't gonna be president. It's just not gonna happen. So you have to step back and you have to look at these circumstances and go, okay, I had to do it myself. That's what I'm telling you. I had to look at myself and go, my brain operates this way. Even though I had a certain point where I thought like some of these dudes, I always thought a little bit different than them. And that's why I didn't have some of the outcomes that they had. And I had to recognize that about myself and understand that we're not a monolith. The same way like your brother had that situation, it's probably 100 more people in that same situation that couldn't recover from it. It's just a fact.
That's true.
So,
and he didn't follow your success. He didn't follow your success either. He went a different path.
And the one thing I want people to understand, the difference between a person that's successful and a person that's not successful is that they make a decision in their mind that they're going to follow the success path. And anybody at any time can make that decision. And I believe everybody can create success.
The problem is what I've seen though, and to piggyback on what Tommy's saying, you guys, you know, I can't stress it enough, you guys. The problem is some people are just broken, you know, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. Some people are just broken. Okay. And Emmanuel, this doesn't, you know, this has nothing to do with anybody on the panel. This is just the reality of life. And I think this is where our passions and our empathy, you know, Genesis saying, look, I'm gonna give my last to save a felon, right? So Genesis, she's down for the cause, you know, but there's a passion because see, we know what I've seen is the reason why I started to do YouTube to help our people have better outcomes with law enforcement, because I see it. I see the dysfunction. You know, I see the broken homes. These kids are coming through these issues and what they're experiencing, no fault to their own. They didn't choose that. And so when they come out here and they have a bad situation in their home and they come out here and try to do life on their own, not understanding because they weren't taught properly, it's technically not their fault. Though I don't make excuses for them, I say, how can I help someone else? How can I prevent this? You know, what can I do? Right? Because I understand that everybody's situation is not the same and everybody has different outcomes. We're all individuals, we're all different, and your strengths, Emmanuel, are my weaknesses. And then here again, my strengths could be your weaknesses. And that's just the nature of life and the nature of being a human. And unfortunately, it isn't that easy for some people to just say hard work. I could put the plan right in front of somebody. Listen, we're talking about the problems in our own community. We have all the facts right in front of us and we still can't solve the problem. We still can't, what that gentleman say, he can't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time.
Here's a perfect example.
Love you, brother.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all guys.
Send me an email for me, Jedi.
I got you. Yeah, I got you. Don't worry.
Money Steph Curry makes. We all see how much money LeBron makes. You don't think every person in the NBA wants to get to that level?
Right.
Everybody ain't got that talent. Like that's just a fact. And I don't see. I hate that he just left, but I understand people come from these places. I think the difference is, do you know the story? And I've explained this a couple of times when I talk to people. I know the stories, bro. I used to open my door and see my partner's mom hoeing in front of my house, hopping in the cars with strange men.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can't tell me that those kids, because we grew up in the same neighborhood, don't come up the same way as me.
Exactly.
They going through some shit I couldn't imagine.
Exactly.
And so when I know these stories, I know the stories of people that became killers, but I know the backstory. I know what they went through to get there.
Correct.
So for me, I have a whole different level of empathy for them.
Yes.
Even though I'm not saying their actions were right.
Correct.
I understand how he got there.
Listen.
And I think that's what he misses a lot of time when he talks.
And I think he's, and I don't want to speak for him, but you know,